Hi, I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the Expert Plumber, coming to you on YouTube Live. Now, if you've never been here before and you're here for the live stream, welcome to the video. Now, if you just got into the channel and this is what was recommended to you, this is actually a live stream that we do every Monday, different times. We're trying to hit 3 to 5:30. That way we're in here long enough to visit people, talk to people, answer questions, comments, and stuff like that. So if you're looking to get into the trades, or you're in the trades and you want to get better, or maybe you're in the trades and you want to open your own company or learn to grow your company through the use of social media, welcome to the video. Now, right here during the live stream, if this is your first time here, but you are looking for a video, you may want to hang around. There's some great questions, comments, a lot of wonderful people in here. So number one, welcome to the show. Welcome to the live stream if it's live. And if this is recorded, man, subscribe and ring the bell. That way you know when the next live stream is and you can come in and join with us. So I'm going to jump in. I see that we got Grayson, the editor, in here. We got William Rosebrock, two of my amazing moderators. Great to have them. David Outdoors says, hey, how's everything going? And, you know, we weren't here last week. Last week was Labor Day. And, man, we decided we were actually going to take off. And, of course, I come back from the Red River early. I jump in, come down here to work on Monday. And, man, I almost went ahead and went live. I thought, you know what, I'll just come in, fire it up, see who's here, see who's listening, see what's going on. But I didn't. I came in, I worked on the stuff I had to work on, got home, spent time with Julie, had a wonderful evening. So, man, it was really pretty cool. Had a lot of fun. So how is everybody doing? It's a crazy world right now. Man, there is a lot of crazy stuff going on. Thank God we're just plumbers, you know? Thank God this is, all I have to worry about is, does it go downhill? What day is Friday? And remember not to bite my fingernails. Other than that, it's pretty good. Cow of the Sea says, just started taking a plumbing class. Man, congratulations. Do me a favor and put a comment in here, where at? And, you know, you're taking a plumbing class. Is it through a union? Is it through the PHCC? Who are you taking a plumbing class through? And what made you pick that one? Where are you located and what kind of work do you want to do? Those of y'all that hadn't seen it or hadn't been in there, we've got the little mini course, the free course to find out what kind of plumber would you like to be. And those of y'all that know my story understand why. Just when I got my first job, I just knew I was going to be a plumber. But now, later in life, I realized there's a lot of different types of plumbing. There's commercial and residential. There's new construction and service. There's union and non-union. There's industrial. There is so many different things. And that's part of what we like to talk about and what we like to get into in that course. Find out what kind of plumber people really may want to be. The Texas Chainsaw, love the name. Hey, Roger, I went to repair a busted pipe under the crawl space and got a huge surprise. There's about 20 different species of snakes. Okay, now that would freak me out. And I got to tell you, I'm not really afraid of snakes or anything. I see we have Neil, the Urban Explorer, in here. Another phenomenal moderator. If y'all have not subscribed to Neil's channel, The Van Life, it's phenomenal. Get over and check it out and see what he does. But Texas Chainsaw, I got to tell you, snakes, number one, freak me out. And don't get me wrong, I've ran into them. I've had them in my, I've had them in meter boxes. I've had them in valve boxes. I've come across them in different places. And, you know, I just normally kill them. But my thing is, if I was crawling under a house and they were there, that would blow my mind. I don't know that I could get out quick enough. Hello, Morgan. I'm trying to read your last name, but Will get me around to it. Good to see you in here. You know, and look, we've got editor Grayson, we've got Will, we've got Neil in here. And, you know, guys, look, and Neil is phenomenal. Neil will put you in timeout so fast. You know, make sure that you go by the guidelines. We don't talk trash. We don't talk bad about people. Man, don't be screaming and yelling with all caps, anything like that. The neat thing is, though, guys, look, mostly, man, I don't know that we really normally have a lot of problems. We've got a lot of good people getting here to hang out, to ask some good questions and want to know different things. So Christmas Fun 96 says, my sink is going down slowly. We even checked the P-trap and such. What could be the problem? If you've already checked the P-trap, if you've already taken it apart, make sure you didn't have any trash or garbage in it. One thing I recommend is putting a bucket under it and then filling up your sink again. That way you can tell if it's in the disposal, if it's in the riser pipe, any of that, or in the tailpiece. But here's the reason I do that is I literally took a sink apart one time. We had drained it all down, put the bucket under the P-trap, undid the P-trap, let it all drain, ran a sewer machine in the wall, got everything clean. I mean, ran 25 feet, went through twice. Things were great. Filled up the sink, it did it again. It was literally in the T. So you've got a continuous waste where you tie the sink side into the disposal side. Where that T is, there was literally garbage up in there. And look, this was back when I first started plumbing, so it was really unique. But I got in there and found out, this is neat because I figured out the problem was here. Didn't need to run a sewer machine, didn't need to do half the things that I did, but it blew my mind because I had run the sewer machine, and when I turned on the water to fill up the sink, it filled up immediately. And I'm like, okay, wait, something's wrong. And that's what made it click. It was literally right there. So tons of fun, but learn to look at everything. So that's why I say, make sure once you get it apart, look down your tailpiece, maybe even take that T apart, get a look at everything, find out where your problem is. That way you're not working on something maybe you really don't need to work on. Andrew Lazaro says he doesn't know shit about plumbing, but he's here for the stash. You know what? I love that. We've had a lot of good channel growth here lately, which has really been funny. So Andrew, I'm gonna point it out due to you, but thank you. Literally, it's funny because we went through this crazy phase the past month where we got recommended by YouTube to, I think, everybody in the world. And there were so many comments that came in and says, look, I don't know why YouTube recommended us, but we're staying for the mustache. And so really it was pretty good. It was pretty funny, but it was a lot of fun. Oscar A.N., how are you, brother? Good to see you here. Hello from the smoky state of California. Brother, man, I feel sorry for y'all. I woke up yesterday morning, I was watching the news, and it was talking about where all the fires are all over the state, and not just California, but California, Oregon, and Washington. And it literally, man, it's crazy that there's that many fires, that spread out. And I know that I think Texas is sending about 200 firefighters a week or every other week to help out there. And man, all I'm saying is, brother, look, praying for y'all. I hope the fires get taken care of. I hope there's no more loss of life, things like that. And man, just, do whatever you can to stay safe. And I don't know where you're at or anything like that, but man, there's fires all over the place. So definitely be careful, take care of you, take care of your family. And man, don't do anything crazy. There's a lot going on out there. So I say we have Julie Wakefield jump in, my favorite moderator. Good to have her in here. Silent Death says, well, I've had to do my own mainline repair on your mobile home. That was an experience, I bet. LOL, I know I'm not a plumber and I'm a lady. Man, I love that. I hope that you found some value in any of the videos on either my channel or anybody else's. I hope you found enough to help you do it right and do it well. And I love the fact, and it's funny, and I like the way you put that on the end, and I'm a lady. I literally was teaching plumbing courses to real estate classes or real estate agents. And I remember walking into a group one day, and one of these ladies, after I finished, just says, look, I don't care how good your videos are. I'm not rebuilding my toilets. There's just certain things in life I will not do. And that's one of them. So I came back about 2 or 3 months later and was doing another class. And at the end of the class, she came up to me. She says, okay, I got to tell you something. She said, I'm not in your area, so I called another plumber. And when I found out how much it was going to be for him to come out and rebuild 3 toilets, I went back and watched your videos, and then I decided I can do that. She said, I just want you to know you saved me about $1,200. And yes, I did rebuild all 3 of my toilets. So I love the fact that you're a lady. I love the fact that you are like, look, I can take this on. I'm not worried about it. Congratulations to you. I think that is fantastic. So, if y'all are already in the trades, and I love that, Silent Death is like, look, I'm not in the trades. I'm a lady. Here's the deal. If you're already in the trades, put a comment in there, hashtag yes. Yes, I am in the trades. Because I'm always Will and I and Grayson talk about this a lot. How many people do we have jump in here that are plumbers, are in plumbing? And I know all y'all aren't going to put hashtag yes, but it's nice to see, how many people, because I remember back when I was in plumbing and I was embarrassed about it. When I literally, girls would come up and say, so what do? You say, well, I'm a plumber. And I'd be like, oh. And then it got to be, well, I can just tell I'm in construction. So you start looking at it a different way. But, finally I decided those probably weren't the kind of girls I wanted to talk to anyway. So Sakula, are you just putting these up here to see if I can pronounce these names? Is that what you're doing? That's what I thought. Sakula says, I will be starting an apprenticeship soon in construction plumbing and have been checking out the Getting Into Plumbing videos. I'm grateful for all the great information. Thanks, Roger and team. And I got to tell you, it's more team. Will is great about helping me come up with good content, helping me look at other content creators out there that are doing some cool things. Grayson gets to get in and have fun. Man, his editing skills are dope. I mean, so cool, so much fun to watch and come in and see what kind of crazy idea he comes up with next. So it's pretty cool. So Sakula, I appreciate it. I think it's great. Where are you located? And are you starting at like an apprentice training center through PHCC? What kind of a program are you looking at? And I'm just curious because I like to see where different people are learning their skills at. Me, I didn't go through a training center. I literally learned open shop. But the good thing about it for me is I happened to work for 2 of the most phenomenal plumbers I've ever met, and they were open shop. And, they 4 brothers and their dad were all master plumbers. And man, I learned so much from them. It was really good for me. Hello, Neil, the Urban Explorer. Says, hey, buddy, I'm driving at the Minso, kind of here. You know what, Neil, kind of having you here is better than not having you at all, brother. He did a great video the other day. He was installing a toilet in his van and actually wearing a tuber turd shirt, which fit him well, looked really good. It was neat to see Neil wearing the merchandise, though. Will helped me design all that, and Will actually designed all of it, really. I say help me. He does a lot. But it was neat because he designed it, the stickers, the shirts, even the masks. And we've got to work on these masks because we designed one. It was really, really cool. And we designed another one, and I don't have one yet. But we want to get one in here so we can show y'all and let you see what it's all about. So, Neil, good to have you in here, brother. Drive careful. Take care of yourself no matter what you do. But, and that's a neat thing, too. We talked about people creating content and asking questions and things like that. There are some really good plumbing content creators on YouTube. There are some really good people that jump in these videos or live streams and comment and give insight. And look, I tell people all the time, I don't know everything in the world about plumbing, especially all across the country or all around the world. It's different everywhere that we're at. And it's a really neat thing to have this community where other people come in, give feedback, tell you what they think or tell you the way they see it from where they're at. And it really is really pretty cool. Philip Frank says, my toilet has a very weak flush. It is a one-piece toilet, and I have replaced the flush valve, but it's still very weak flush. What should I do? Philip Frank, I'll tell you what, a lot of times, and even though it's a one piece, if it's got holes under the lip, number one, how old is the toilet? Because a lot of times you'll get mold, mildew, bacteria, just, hard water, all kinds of different things that will fill up those holes and clog them up and not allow enough water through. Also, if it's partially clogged in the bottom where it's restricting the water coming out, there's a lot of different things it could be. Man, it just literally could be so many different things, but I like the holes under the toilet rim first. You can get like a gel cleanser for like dishwashing soap, get a syringe and squirt that up in there and let it set overnight. And sometimes that'll clean up some of that hard water. You can take a brush sometimes and clean out those holes. If you're not getting enough water into the bowl, it's not going to give it enough to really flush it and kind of power wash it down. If you're getting enough water in there, but it's clogged up on the outside, meaning your flange is not lined up good, or your bowl wax is kind of clogging it. There's a lot of different things there that can make water not come out fast enough, so it's still not going to flush properly. And those are crazy because those are ones that are kind of hard to figure out sometimes, but it is what it is. I see we had the wonderful Paul Peck drywall tube jump in here. Good to see you here, brother. Paul's another one. Man, if you're not subscribed to his channel, you should. Now, you got to kind of bear with him because he teaches drywall. And it was so funny because I got a comment today about a video, and I don't remember if it was plumber versus electrician or plumber versus HVAC tech or handyman or whatever. And this guy gets in and talks for a long time about how good plumbing is and how good electrical is and this is. And then he says, the only trade I really hate is drywall. And I just kind of started laughing. I was trying to reply to it driving down the road, and I thought I got to wait till I get back to the office. Richard Adams, how are you, sir? $2 super chat. How are you? How to get rid of a cast iron tub? Man, if you got a cast iron tub, you have your hands full. The best way is literally go in and take everything apart. You're going to have to remove some tile, remove some walls. And I say remove some wall, you may just need to remove enough sheetrock to where you can tilt it up, because you got to try to get that standing up to where you can get it out through the doorway. And I've removed them before with a hammer, with a saw. There's a lot of different ways. I've cut them in pieces and drug them out. Just be careful because that porcelain on there, you can literally, matter of fact, a week or two ago, there was a post in one of the Facebook groups that I watch about a plumber who had taken a hammer, was hitting the cast iron tub. A piece of porcelain got him, like right above the eyebrow. I think he said he had 17 stitches. So be very careful getting it out. There's different ways to do it. But if you're going to break it like that, maybe take a moving blanket or something, lay down over it, bash it up with a sledgehammer, then pull it out in pieces. God, we've removed a big marble jacuzzi tub that way. Went in and just, trashed it with a sledgehammer, pulled it out in pieces, got a wheelbarrow and hauled it out. So a lot of different things that we had done, but man, be careful either way. So there's Morgan Hoover. How are you doing? Says Roger Wakefield. Love you. Handyman here, electrician, woodworker, now a plumber. Love your videos and thank you. Would love to send in my bathroom and see your opinion. You know what? Anytime y'all want to send me anything, you can send pictures or videos to video@rogerwakefield.com. We'll get a look at it. And you know what? If you're a handyman, all I say, Morgan, is are you working in a part of the country where either licensing isn't required? And the only reason I ask it is, look, and I'm sure you've seen my videos where I bash handyman, and people say, man, you must hate handyman. No, I actually love them. Man, there's a lot of good things that they can do and do to help us all out. But the thing is, if a handyman comes in and works on somebody's water heater and then there's a problem, the insurance company has a reason not to protect that customer. And they can say, well, you did not have a professional work on it. You had an unlicensed person work on it to save money. And that's not always a good thing. It can cost people money. So that's why I'm always like, look, if you're a handyman, do what handymen are good at and stick with that. Don't start branching out into plumbing work, electrical work, HVAC work, anything where it could come back and harm the customer later. So what did y'all do for Labor Day? And I asked because we went up to my sister's house. She has a place up on the Red River. Went up there, man, ate some great food. We, Julie and I cooked Saturday, so we did cowboy burgers. We did jalapeno cheddar burgers. We did jalapeno cheddar sausage and beef sausage. Great food. My brother cooked the night before. He did fried fish. It was wonderful. I cooked on the Traeger. I get up in the mornings and cook my sausage and sausage, bacon, stuff like that on the Traeger. Bobby cooks the eggs inside the kitchen, and man, we throw it all together and have a great breakfast. But me, I love cooking out on the Traeger. So we fired the Traeger up Saturday, cooked. Man, I think I filled that thing up twice, and they've got a big old XL, and just like me. So I filled their XL up twice and thoroughly enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. Boy, that's a good one. Ahmed Fiver Count. Man, how do I know if I can trust a plumber? Hopefully, you watch enough of my videos to learn plumbing terminology. You learn what a plumber's doing, should be doing. You learn questions asked that are based on the different things. If you've got a plumber coming in to rebuild a toilet and he wants to do a major rebuild or rebuild the whole thing, ask him why. What is it that it's doing that makes you think that we need to do that? People call us from around the country all the time and ask us, look, we think we've got a slab leak. What are the first steps a plumber should do? So, when you look at it that way, the thing is that sometimes people already know what should be done. And if they come in or call you, and maybe they've reached out to me or another plumber that they've seen on YouTube and say, hey, we've got this going on. What's the next step? And we tell them one thing, and you come out and maybe you skip that step. You're going straight for isolation or something. They may say, okay, wait a minute. That's not what the plumber I know said. Always look at reviews. Reviews are huge. Look at reviews, find out what kind of information you can get about a plumbing company. I love reviews because if you take time to check reviews, you can at least find out what other people think. But also read through the reviews and find out, does it look like by the reviews that the reviews are legit? Because there's a lot of companies out there that just pay money to buy reviews, to have people give them positive reviews all day long. And that's not a good way to do it. Yogesh Sharma says, hey, Roger, I was wondering, when do you preemptively replace plumbing? I have black ABS drainage pipe. House was built in 71, and concerned since I don't see that anymore. And Yogesh, it really depends on where you're at. Most people don't preemptively replace plumbing below the ground. Anything above the ground, above the ground, you're normally not going to have a problem with it. So that doesn't get done either, unless there's a leak, unless there's a problem. I don't know that we've ever really had anybody call up and say, hey, look, I want you to just replace all the plumbing under my house. Are there times I think it'd be smart? Absolutely. But normally we come out because they've got a problem. If you're worried about foundation problems or anything like that, what I would say to do is wait until you have some sign of a problem. And you can do sewer water tests around your house. There's a lot of different things you can do to check your system just to make sure you address it quickly. But I don't know that just changing your plumbing would be a wise decision. And ABS, I'm assuming you're probably west or northwest. Down here we use PVC. We've gone from cast iron to PVC, but we never use ABS down here. And I say never. I'm sure that there are some people that do, but not very many people. So, to just change your plumbing out normally doesn't happen. Could it happen? Sure. I've had people buy houses and say, look, I don't want cast iron under it. What is the price to replace everything? But they normally want the seller to pay that. And once they figure out the price, they really don't want to do it. So it's kind of interesting. And other than that, man, it's just kind of keep an eye on it, make sure you don't have any problems. Okay, Ted Fox says, what is your opinion on ProPress fittings? I'm considering pulling the trigger on the rigid tool for it. Man, I love ProPress. And it's funny because, I don't really like shark bite, but it's because we find a lot of leaks with it. But I'll tell you the really cool thing is when people read or watch my shark bite video, they'll jump in and say, well, what about ProPress? It's the same thing. No, it's not. ProPress has about 1,000 pounds of pressure behind it, squeezing a joint together to tighten it up to make sure it doesn't leak. It has the stainless steel locking in there on it. I mean, there's a lot of different things that can be involved. Shark bite has a fitting that you push a piece of pipe in and you say there, it's going to hold forever. And look, I'm sure that if you do shark bite perfectly right every single time, it's possible it may never leak. But I know as a plumbing company owner, we've gone out and fixed a whole lot of shark bite leaks and problems and things like that. And that's why we don't recommend them or do it. But when it comes to ProPress, man, I've got the rigid ProPress machine. We've looked at buying the smaller Milwaukee machines for our guys. I'm kind of like Robert Melko. I still think that they're overpriced right now. And when I say overpriced, I don't mean for the tool. I just mean for me to stock all my guys with those tools, it would have to be a much bigger ROI than I see right now. But I think that's a possibility in the future. I really think that, pretty much every plumbing company is in the United Nations, in the United States or in the nation is going to say, hey, look, this is something that we're going to invest in. I think that ProPress is going to speed things up so much, we're going to have to invest in it. And when you own a plumbing company, you understand labor is one of your biggest costs, and anything you can do to cut that labor to help you make more profit is going to be a wise investment. TV Junkie, how are you? My plumbing. I
think that's 12-week.
Okay, 12-week plumbing pre-apprenticeship course in Toronto area starts in 2 weeks from today. Thanks for helping me find my path. TV Junkie, number one, thank you. Thank you for taking the time just to reach out and say that. Look, I've tried, what's your buddy's name up in Canada? Trudeau, the one you love? Yeah. I've tried reaching out to Prime Minister Trudeau and said, look, man, y'all need people in the trades. I would love to come up there and, help make videos, talk to people, go to schools, do different things. Because, here's the thing. We're short plumbers around the world, guys. Especially in the United States, especially in Canada. We can't get people to get in trades because we've pushed them to college for so long. And look, I'm not saying there's anything at all wrong with college. I'm just saying it's not something everybody in the world needs. Now, do I see benefits of it for certain things? Absolutely. But I also see that, the trades are fantastic. So TV Junkie, number one, don't be a TV junkie forever. Start studying plumbing, start studying HVAC, start studying anything about the trades you can. Construction management is a major thing if you want to do construction, not just service. But the cool thing about it is that, look, if you can learn plumbing in Toronto, you will always have job opportunities, whether it's in Canada, whether it's in the United States, whatever it is. There's always an opportunity to travel the world and plumb. And I know that because of people that I help get into the trades here in Dallas that, travel around the country and do a lot of different things. And man, I think it's wonderful. So TV Junkie, number one, thank you. I appreciate you jumping in and saying that. And I hope that you've watched enough videos to learn and it kind of helps set you apart from everybody else. The thing is, I love this trade and I love the opportunities that it's given me. But I also look at the idea of, Julia and I talk all the time about learn your way up. And, I think that each one of us have the opportunity, if we want to get out of whatever situation we're in, all we've got to do is educate ourselves and learn our way up. So, man, I think it's really cool that you're starting your apprentice training program. I hope it works out great for you, because I'm telling you, I love this trade. I love, and not just this trade. If I wasn't a plumber, I'd have been a good electrician or HVAC tech or anything like that, because I love working with my hands. I love doing stuff like that. And it's really been pretty cool. SD Bates, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty close to it. Looking for an easy temporary fix for leaking water heater. Copper pipes and old gunky valve. Is it the water heater leaking, or is it a connection to it? Because if it's the water heater itself, there is no cheap, easy fix. If your tank is leaking, the tank's got to be replaced. Now, if it's the nipples going into the top of the water heater, the connectors on it, if it's the valve that's leaking, there's a lot of different things that it could be. And if it's one of those, you may be able to fix it. But if it's just the water heater itself, the tank has a crack or anything like that, chances are you're going to have to change it out. And I hate to tell you that, but that's the way it is. What I will tell you, though, is a lot of times it may not be. But the good thing is if your tank is not leaking, chances are any of the other leaks could be fixed. So you may be okay. So I hope that works out for you. I hate to tell you that if the tank's leaking, chances are you're kind of out of luck. And I'm gonna sit down for just a second because my foot's hurting. Will says, man, that just completely messed up your video, threw you off. You're not in the top third. I do now, like shorten it. I may have to stand back up. It's kind of weird. So anyway, super chat from John Don. Good job. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. So tell me this, any other plumbers out there? If somebody calls you and says, hey, we've got a leak in our water heater, and that's how the conversation normally starts out. We've got a leak in our water heater. Are you automatically thinking replacement, or are you thinking, okay, this is repairable if it's not the tank? And I ask because, I've done a lot with Bradford White, and I've been up to iTech and gone through their training program. And I think that what they have is number one, it's an amazing facility. It's a great opportunity. And I think any plumber that can go up there and learn more about water heaters and their trade and how to troubleshoot and diagnose and see how they're built and just everything about it is really, really cool. But to me, the really neat thing is when one of their technicians asked me, and this guy runs a lot of the troubleshooting there, but he asked me, he said, hey, if a water heater is leaking, do you try to fix it? And I said, always. And he said, you always try to fix it? I said, well, I always give them that option. And my reasoning behind it is, number one, I don't know what financial situation anybody's in. And, I've got a system and process that I go through. How old is the water heater? How long do they plan on living there? Is it giving them enough hot water right now? There's so many different things to look at, and I do, and I try to look at all of them. But I let them know, look, fixing this is an option. But if I fix this 20-year-old water heater today for $600, would it have not been smarter to put that $600 towards a new water heater? And so I love giving them choices and options and things like that. Sorry, John Don, I went back to that. So anyway, for the good job, thank you very much. I'm assuming you mean the videos, things that we do here. Man, we have fun doing it, so I really do appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. What do y'all do? Do you believe in trying to fix it? Do you believe in trying to make the repair, or do you come in and say, hey, look, man, if it's leaking, just the simplest thing is to go straight for a new water heater? Because, man, I've never seen it that way. But I know a lot of plumbers that do, and I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing or one way or the other. I'm just always curious as to how people see it. Nigel Browser, how are you, sir? What's the benefit of using a rigid versus flexible connection from the wall to the toilet tank. And this is really a good question. Number one, the rigid connections used to be copper, meaning, an angle stop would stick out. You'd solder a piece of copper in it, and then you'd shape it nice and neatly up into the tank. You'd stick a cone washer on it. You'd hopefully pry it down a little bit. That way it didn't come off. So here's what's neat about the flexible connectors. Number one, that they're quicker. Remember I was talking earlier about saving time and money. They're quicker. They're easier. Most homeowners can change out the flex connector themselves as long as the angle stop that they're hooking up to has threaded connections that work like that. Meaning you can't just cut, a rigid connection. So say somebody did solder a piece of copper into an angle stop, you can't just cut that off and put a flex connector there. You've probably got to change out the entire angle stop to make that work properly. The benefit of using rigid, now we hard pipe our water heaters, and I want that rigid connection because we've gone in and found a lot of those flex connectors leaking, spraying, making people think they had a water heater leak when they really didn't. So there's a lot of different things there that we've looked at and played with. We prefer the rigid connection. We think it's a more professional way to do it. But on a toilet, we actually go the flex connectors with a good angle stop because, man, it puts the customer in a position where they can do more with it. And I guess that's probably the best way I can come up with to put it. But Nigel, if you've got flex connectors that fit the lavatory and the toilet and the different angle stops, and it's a good thing to have because you're giving people options and opportunities. We almost always use the flex connector now, though, and it's really funny because, man, I used to even remember carrying chrome tubing on my truck so that we could put a piece of chrome tubing in on the toilet, and even use tubing benders to bend it and make sure it really, really did look good. So anyway, lots of fun, but we enjoy it. Victor Koppel says, a $2 super chat. Thank you. What's your feelings about PVC plumbing? And, I'm a good one to ask about this because I remember plumbing in 1980 here in Dallas, and we were doing cast iron. And I say here in Dallas, actually in Garland, town I grew up in. And I remember the inspector coming out. We had put code back then, and I think the code had just changed. Code back then was you put cast iron underground. Then once you come up through the slab, you can convert to PVC. And I remember my superintendent, Austin Speak, asking the inspector one day, says, why won't they let us do PVC underground? And he said, man, Garland will never allow that, which they do. But when he asked him why, what he said was really funny. He said, look, PVC is not going to last forever. At least we know cast iron will. And now I think we see that, man, that's really pretty much just the opposite of the way it is. That the PVC has a longer lifespan as long as, there's no shifting, no movement, no nothing like that. But the funny thing about it is that now we very seldom use cast iron anymore. It's almost all PVC. Now, out on the West Coast, we had somebody talk earlier about ABS. Now, we don't use a lot of ABS here in Texas. Matter of fact, I think I've only used ABS once in my life. But if you look at it from a plumber's point of view, plastic's easy to work with. It's easy to cut. It's easy to glue together. It's easy to get. It's lighter to handle. If you're installing it overhead, it's easier to go up and down ladders with it. There's a lot of different things you can do. So, Victor, I got to tell you, I love it. I have no problem with PVC. I've been working with it for years. I think it's great. How we doing, Mr. Will?
Seem to be doing pretty well. We got a lot of people in the chat today.
Man, that is a good thing. I like that. And, they just came in because there was nothing to do last Monday. They were bored, looking for me. We weren't here. And I'm joking, but I do. How many of y'all were looking for us last Monday? We need you in Australia, man. I just looked down and saw that. Would love to be there. Is it Austria? Well, I was close. Austria, I'll have to check into. No, I'm joking. That was funny, though. Oh, no, I'd love to be in Austin. Oh, wait, Australia. No, I'm going to have to check into that. It's really neat because drone flight, yes. I have a water heater from 2000. Should it be replaced? I can ask you a million things about it, but most water heaters are not designed to last 20 years. The thing that I would ask you honestly would be, is it in a position that if it starts leaking, will it cause damage to your house? And that is just the most logical answer, because if it is in a position where if it starts leaking and it can cause damage, when it does leak, it's going to cost you more money. And at 20 years old, number one, look, you've got your money's worth out of it, or somebody has. I would look at the possibility of replacing it, especially if it's in a position where it can cause problems, because the one thing you don't want to do is leave it there and then have it completely rupture and flood, and now there are serious problems. And I say that because, I've been in houses that a water heater's busted, and it's put them out of their house for 6 or 8 months. Don't get me wrong, the insurance covered it, but it's still so many problems. It wasn't worth it. So, man, at 20 years old, I would definitely be looking at what's the possibility of this causing problems, and is that something I want to deal with? Victor Koppel again, another $5 super chat. Thank you. That's BS. We use PVC and the FOFO for water distribution lines. Iron pipes usually get clogged with rust and are a pain to fix. And Victor, I agree with you. We don't use iron pipes for water. We use copper for water. We don't even really use, and I started to say that, we don't use PVC over here for water. All our water piping over here is now either copper or PEX. And we did that because, the galvanized pipes filling up with corrosion, electrolysis, all the different things we were fighting there. They tried going to a Quest pipe for a while. That was a joke because the polybutylene pipe, PB, chlorine reacted to that in a bad way, and that wasn't good. So, we've got houses over here that have leaks in the yard service because polybutylene, the chlorine just cracks it, messes it up, makes it not good. We don't use iron pipes at all. PEX, PEX A, PEX B, Uponor, copper, things like that. That's pretty much all we use over here. Now, out in some municipalities, you might find CPVC and PVC, things like that. But mainly, it's cross-linked polyethylene or copper, and that's pretty much all we use. So, Victor, man, that's what we use now. I don't know what the FOFO is. Boy, I went to a completely bad camera there. I was trying to get to my collar. So anyway, the funny thing about it is materials are going to change. And, if you'd have asked me 10 years ago, I say 10 years ago, we started using Quest back then. But if you'd have asked me about PEX pipe and crimp fittings and Uponor fittings and stuff like that, I'd have said, yeah, not for water. It'll never happen. But here we are. So, materials are going to change. Always be aware of that. And, I tell people all the time, look, if you want to be in the top, God, I'm going to say 5%. To be honest, if you want to be in the top 1 to 2% of your industry, no matter what industry it is, get up every morning for an hour and study tools, materials, techniques. What is happening in your industry that's going to change it, that's going to be the future of it? Because the more you do, the more you study, the more you learn, the more you're going to know about your industry than other people, and that will definitely put you in the top and, man, help you get ahead. $5 super chat from Jake Schroeder. Started replacing the galvanized lines in my house with PEX B any reason to switch to PEX A, or is B okay? I like PEX A for the expansion. Here's the deal. I like expansion PEX, and no matter which brand, no matter what you use, I like the expansion. The reason being, here's what I don't like. I don't like the crimp PEX that you've got the reduced size fitting on. And you notice I'm wording things very carefully. My thought has always been, look, if you're going to put in PEX, upsize the system. The reason being, you're going to lead to flow restraints. And these flow restraints, and I mean, think about it, because we did this, and we've got a video about it, but we went into a house, a brand new house, where they had full-size yard service. They had a valve box in the front yard, and then they came in and they went to PEX with crimp fittings, and they did not upsize it. So every time you went through a fitting, there was a fitting reduction, which is a flow reduction, not a pressure, but a flow. And they were upset because at their shower, they did not have enough water pressure. And it wasn't pressure, it was flow, but they thought water pressure. And the reason being, when that water line entered the house, it had to go through however many manifolds to get to the water heater, then come out of the water heater and go through however many manifolds to get to the hot at the shower that they were wanting to use it at. And what we ended up doing is just coming in and opening up the wall at the water heater and rebuilding all that to full line size. Luckily, that gave them enough total pressure that the volume restriction from the water heater to the shower valve turned out to be okay. And I know that's kind of a long way to put it, but what I like about the expansion PEX is when it expands, those fittings are bigger. It's not normally a reduced size line, so you don't have that problem. So, Jake, you can go whichever way you want to go, but that's my idea. What do you think here, Mr. Will?
Victor Capel said DeFofo is a let me find it. I just lost it. He sent another super chat. Said DeFofo is another kind of PVC, usually blue and more resistant. He was talking about what the inspector told you about underground pipes.
Ah, cool deal. You know, and look, there's different parts or different types of materials in different parts of the world. Look at what, just in Seattle, and I know this because I've got friends up there that do plumbing and radiant heat. Now, they use a different PEX than we do. And, you know, look, the neat thing is to study and know what's available, where it's available, how it's used, but you're still not going to learn everything. You're still not going to know everything. I have people talk to me about combi water heaters. And I'm like, okay, wait, what's a combi water heater? It's like, well, it's used for hot water and radiant heat. Well, man, that makes perfect sense. You're heating the water anyway. Why not learn how to make it do both? So anyway, I'm having fun learning about different things. But guys, remember, I've been doing this 40 years, and I'm continuously learning. And I have been for the entire time. I love this. Rick Neal says, do you have a podcast as well? Rick, we actually just did our first interview for our podcast a week or two ago. Actually got to interview the great William Rosebrock right here. And the cool thing about it is that, we have David, the producer, in the house. Looky there. So later tonight, that means Juliet Miranda will be on. Brother, how are you doing in New Orleans? Rick Neal, I'm sorry. I saw that and my mind started running. I know David and Juliet Miranda are down in New Orleans, and they got a hurricane blowing in. Welcome to New Orleans. How in the heck are y'all doing? So Rick Neal, we just started our podcast. It's not even out yet. We just started recording it. We have got another YouTube channel. Anybody who hadn't checked it out yet, jump over to the Trade Talks. Will might be able to find a link for it to the YouTube channel, but we're doing a podcast for those videos. So when I interview Will, you saw me hit a button a while ago. we've got these different stream decks set up to where we can do different things. But literally, I'm trying to edit the video while we do it. So if I'm talking to Will, I press on his. If it's me talking, I press on mine. I've also got a split screen I can do to do some different things. So yes, Rick, we do have a podcast, but we're really talking about all the trades, not just plumbing. If I can get Will to work full time, I may have him take my YouTube videos and just strip the audio and create a podcast out of it. I mean, he's bored to tears because he has nothing to do all the time. And he's over here flipping me off or something right now, or telling me I'm number one. I can't tell what he's doing. But the funny thing is, Rick, yes, we are working on a podcast. It's going to be a little bit different because it's going to be not just plumbing. I think the trades are important for all people to understand. There's a way that they can improve their lives, get out and get a great job. We do talk a lot of plumbing because got a lot of people in plumbing that I deal with all the time. We've actually got a magazine for it that we started putting together. And I know y'all don't always get to see, let's see if I can find an ugly mug here. Y'all don't always get to see what Will looks like, but see, if you see this poster at the post office, you know where he's at. I'm just going to let y'all know that right now. But that's Will, and he was actually my first interview on the podcast, and it was all for a reason because he has done so much to help get all this going in together. But the cool thing is, yes, we have started our podcast. We've got the artwork. We've got intros. We've got a whole lot of stuff done. We finally shot our first one. Working with a company to help me strip that, edit it, put it out. But if y'all have not yet, jump over to the YouTube channel, The Trade Talks. Subscribe over there. Matter of fact, as soon as we get 100 people over there, we can lock that name in. And then the other thing is the podcast will be going soon. But if you want to know more about it, you can go to thetradetalks.com. And there's a link there to the magazine. And you can find out what it's all going to be about. But it's pretty cool. We've had fun doing it, looking forward to it. And, man, it's going to be really neat. It's going to be completely different than what we do here. Bob and Cindy Del Monto, how are y'all doing today? Hey, Roger, lost my dental technician job from COVID. Reinvented myself as a residential new construction plumber's apprentice. You know what, man? God bless you, brother. Or sister, if it's Cindy. Man, here's the thing is what I was just talking about a while ago, learn your way up. And look, I don't know that that going from a dental technician job to a plumber will be a way up. But, my thing is, look, and look, I'm in the Dallas area, and I listen to people all the time talk about, oh, you know what, my life is horrible. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. BS. Grab your butt by the bootstraps, pull it up, and get out there and do something. And I love that you put that in there. Look, and I just reinvented myself as a residential plumber's apprentice. Man, good for you. People can have an amazing living. When I was a plumber, but before I opened my own plumbing company, when I was a plumber, and don't get me wrong, I've been a superintendent, I've been a quality control manager. I mean, I've always worked hard to learn a lot and move up. But just as a plumber, I mean, I had a nice house. I had a truck, a Jeep, a motorcycle. I had my toys. I had fun. But you know what? I worked my tail off. And when I listen to people say, the world has not been fair to me. I don't have an opportunity. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And guys, here's the deal. If you're watching this and you're like, look, I'm in high school and I don't know what I want to do, man, you're in a great spot. Because whether it's plumbing, whether it's electrical, landscaping, window cleaning, HVAC, roofing, it doesn't matter. Fence building. There are so many different, drywall, Paul, drywall. There are so many things out there that you can do that will lead to a wonderful living. And Bob and Cindy Del Monto, I love this because, look, you reinvented yourself. You woke up and said, look, I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm going to do something else. And I think that is fantastic. So congratulations to you. Man, I really hope it works out well for you. And I hope that you stay in touch and let me know, how has it worked out for you? How's it been? Because there's a big difference between being a dental assistant and being a plumber's apprentice. It may smell about the same. I mean, some people got some pretty funky breath. But, hey, you may be a step ahead of the game already. Jaylang 11, how are you? How often do I need to get a tankless water heater serviced and descaled? Number one, you don't need to get that done. You can do it yourself. I've got videos where I teach people how. But that needs to be done about once a year. Look at the manufacturer's recommendation, see what they say. It's something that, I think we've got a couple of videos where we've showed people how to do that. But I'm telling you that's one that we get a lot of feedback on, saying, wow, you know what? Thank you for teaching us how to do that. If it's got the right valves, if the plumber installed it properly, there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts there. But at the end of the day, the good thing is, man, this is something that most people can do themselves and really do a good job at it. And, man, save yourself some money. So I love that. So, Jaylang, I hope that works out for you, and I hope you can figure it out. If not, if it's something you do want to have somebody else do, and look, I know a lot of people that are like, look, I know how to do it, I just don't want to. About once a year is perfect for the anti-scaling. It'll help your efficiency rating on it. It'll help you have hotter water for longer. It'll help the water heater last longer. So there's a lot of good reasons to do it. And over the course of 10 or 20 years, you'll be glad that you did. It'll definitely pay off in the long run and make it worthwhile. That part about it's pretty cool. All right. So Patrick R. says, hi, Roger, looking to buy a rigid sea snake as well as a K50 or drum machine. Any suggestions? Total cost I'm looking at is $15K. Not sure if I'll be able to make that money back in decent time. Oh, you'll make your money back. $15K, that's, you're probably right around where you want to be. I don't know what the K50 goes for. Rigid sea snake is a good machine. We do some things with some different sewer cameras. And I got to tell you that there's so many brands out there, and I don't want to think about wording this properly. There's so many brands out there. Make sure you do your research. Find out what can you get the most value for your money for. And look, I love rigid. I've been buying rigid for 40 years now. When I started plumbing, I started buying rigid. The thing I'll tell you is look, just make sure that you look at it and get what's going to be the best for you. What is going to do the things you want it to do and help you get the most value out of it. As for drum machines, man, there's a ton of them. Again, look at what kind of calls are you normally going on? Are you getting on the roof? Are you doing it from cleanouts, from wall cleanouts, from ground cleanouts? What is it you really need? Because I got to tell you, Patrick, there's a lot of options out there and a lot of different things, but I would contact Rigid or go to their site, look at theirs, do a comparison on all the different products, and find out what you can find there that you think will give you exactly what you want or need. Other than that, man, life is wonderful. I don't know if y'all have noticed, we've been changing up the set just a little bit. And some of it you probably won't notice, but there's a few things here and there that we're adding. We've got new signage we're working on for our sponsorship wall. Looking forward to that. All kinds of great things coming on. Alex Thorbrand, thank you for the super chat. Have a PVC soil pipe outside your house. Is it safe or advisable to clean it out with a pressure washer? It's connected to clay pipe underground. Absolutely. Alex, we run hydrojetters in PVC pipe all the time. Now the clay pipe might be a little bit different. I don't know what kind of pressure or what the hydrojetter will do to the inside of it. But yeah, running a hydrojetter, a spray washer, pressure washer, anything like that, it depends on how old the pipe is, what kind of shape it's in, and I'm really thinking of the clay. I'm thinking if it's clay, it's pretty old already. PVC you shouldn't have a problem with, and I say that because, I mean, we run hydrojetters through PVC pipe. We've seen Drain Addict run his big, what's he call it, the double header, or whatever it is, man. He runs that big heavy duty thing through it. So PVC can handle it. The clay I'd kind of be questionable about. Maybe go ahead and run it through it. Just know that you may end up needing to replace it or change that pipe. But if it's clay, it's probably old enough anyway. It's getting to be about time for it. So Alex, that's what I would look at. Also, you might be able to hydrojet the PVC or pressure wash the PVC, then run a camera through it to get a look at it to see how bad is it or how bad is the clay. Is there anything like that you can do to maybe make it, a little bit better, make it last a little bit longer? But, PVC, look, and we were talking about this earlier. I love the fact that PVC is designed for, harsh installations, meaning the hot water going down the drain, the chemicals, the different things people put in it. Plastics are, pretty good and pretty solid and pretty durable. So the thing is that it's kind of tough. It's a tough product. It's made to last. And I mean, even if foundations give a little bit, sometimes we've seen that PVC maybe oval out and not crack. So there's a lot of different things there, but yes, power washing it shouldn't be any problem at all. Varldens Bastabil, how are you doing? How do you maintain such a nice stash? Well, I'll be honest with you. It's not hard for me because I am a trained cosmetologist and a trained massage therapist. So, first of all, you have to massage the hair follicles to get them in a position that the hair does exact. Why are you shaking your head no, Will? Well, see, Will doesn't buy into all this.
Don't lie. In Texas, whenever you become a master plumber, that comes with part of the uniform.
It comes with the license, exactly. The thing is, luckily for me, and I'll tell you a funny story because I had a swimming pool growing up. My parents put in a swimming pool in the 5th grade when I was in the 5th grade. So that was 1975. And I remember just a couple of years later, we were crazy growing up. Crazy. Like jumping off the roof crazy, into the pool crazy, off the trampoline into the pool, all kinds of crazy things. And I remember one day we were running, and we'd run for like 10, 15 feet, hit the diving board, and try and dive all the way to the shallow end. And Varldens, this is good. This has to do with your question, so that's why I'm answering it. Literally, I dove so far that I skint my lip, and I think it was on the left side. I skint my lip on the shallow end of the pool, meaning where the deep end came up and curved. I literally, had my arms up, diving like I was supposed to. And I remember hitting the bottom of the pool so hard that, I saw stars. And when I came up out of it, I had skinned my lip right over here on the left side. And my first immediate thought is, oh no, I'm not going to be able to grow a mustache. And think about this. I'm thinking about this in probably, 78. And, luckily for me, it didn't cause any problems. I really was a cosmetologist and a massage therapist, but I try to take good care of it. I try to keep it trimmed. I paint a lot of white. That's why it keeps getting gray on me. I use a lot of white paint. Really, I've got really dark hair, and since I'm 29, I have no idea why this white looks gray other than the fact that I paint a lot. But I do try to take care of it. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. what is this, Will? You think every plumber in Texas has a cool looking stash like this?
I'd say most of them probably do. I think, like I said, I think it's part of the licensing.
It's a Texas thing. It's a Texas thing. Anyway, the cool thing is, and look, I love being in Texas. And God, now we need to start talking politics. It is almost time. Can I say the Tuber Turd t-shirt is so comfy?
By the way, before you get too far, give a shout out to Joseph Diggs for a super chat that I can't pull up for some reason.
Joseph Diggs, is that the one that just came up right there? Nope, that's a Drum Dugan.
It's another one I'll put up right now.
Joseph Diggs, what was your question, man? Put your question in again.
It wasn't a question, it was
just a super chat?
Yeah.
Well, man, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And if you did have a question, Joseph, put it in there and we'll make sure to get it pulled up. Neil, and I got to tell you, and look, like I said, Will designed these T-shirts. Will picked out the shirts, the quality, because there's different levels. And I got to tell you, he really did a good job. I love that. I love that you think it's comfy too. I thought it was great. I got to tell you, and I need to post some pictures because, just a couple of weeks ago, we hit 100,000 subs. We hit 10 million views. I mean, there's a lot of really cool things. And my sister made a cake and some cookies, or she didn't make it. Trust me, my sister does not bake. My sister, and nobody tell her, but I mean, I have seen my sister burn boiled eggs. And I mean, I'm serious. And I mean, burn them bad too, not just a little bit. But, the thing is, she had a cake and cookies and all kinds of cool stuff made. And it was made by a young lady that grew up with us. So it was really cool. Got to bring in cookies for Will and Grayson and everybody. So it was neat. But, Neil, man, thank you so much. Seeing your video where you were at, and that's why I say, guys, look, jump over there, subscribe to the Urban Explorer, see what he does. Paul Peck's Drywall Tube. There's some great people that do some wonderful things here. And, man, it's just great to have them in the community. Will's working on some new things, too. Different quotes, all kinds of cool stuff. And it's kind of wild. We're working on some masks. We've already got some done. We're working on some other ones. So got some neat stuff going on. Dum Dum Dugan, I like that. Now see, he's got a stash. Now that's a cool stash. It says $4.99 from Dum Dum Dugan. Thank you for the super chat. It says, hey Roger, I enjoy watching your channel. I live about 2 hours east of Dallas and love living in Texas. Amen, brother. I'm going to grow a glorious mustache like you. Dude, that's Wyatt Earp, isn't it?
I don't know who it is, but if that is him, he already has a good
Man,
stash.
I was fixing to say, dude, yeah, you've already got a glorious stash. That's actually pretty cool. And I don't have my glasses on, but I'm looking at it here and I'm thinking, okay, that may be Wyatt Earp. No?
I don't think it is, but whoever it is also has an awesome stash.
You bet. I see the black hat and the cool stash. It's like, man, it doesn't get any better than that. The neat thing about it is, yep, we're in Texas and 2 hours east. So what, Tyler? Out by Tyler? Good deal. We actually get to make it out. We were actually out in Lindale just a couple of weeks ago. Will's got relatives out there. Kind of cool. So don't worry about growing a stash. If that's really yours, you've already got it nailed. You just kind of let it come down a little bit and work on it. I got to tell you, I'm always looking at new product for, can you see it? Will's trying to give me a hard time here. The neat thing is, I literally do. I'm always looking for the best stuff for my stash. Meaning, look, I don't have much hair. I could use sandpaper or a Brillo pad. It really doesn't matter. I could wash my hair with either one. But when it comes to my mustache, I'm like, look, I want something to clean it good. I want to take care of it good. I've got oils. I've got waxes. I've got different things. But it's funny because, I really never thought, okay, I'm going to be known because of my mustache. But here it is. So it's kind of funny. But we have fun with it. And, man, we do. We try to use good product. Like I said, I used to be a hairstylist, so I understand about good shampoos and conditioners and and protein and moisture and stuff like that. And I know it's funny y'all are hearing a plumber talk about stuff like that, but it works. Jake Schroeder, number one, thank you for the super chat, says, if copper is so common on the supply side, why has it never been used in drains? Oh, but it used to be. Just a little history lesson. The cast iron pipes had female threads, and they would screw a male adapter in there and come out and run the arms in copper. So, a lot of the older houses did have, and a lot of times we'll go in to make repairs, and the copper's been in there so long that the bottom of it started to rot out, and we'll take that apart and change it to PVC. We normally try to leave the cast iron in if it's above the slab, if we don't see any problems with it or anything. But Jake, man, believe it or not, even some of the mains, arms going over to catch a P-trap and things like that, there really used to be a lot of copper ran, but then it started going up in value. And that's why when copper got up so high, they quit using it for drains, they quit using it for things like that, and started looking at PVC or some alternative things that they could use, anything that was cheaper. And when they got away from copper, it was going from, I guess, from cast iron and copper to PVC, and that literally did help bring the price down. So, Jake, that's really a good question. And a lot of people would, ask that too, but man, I'm glad that you did, because that really is pretty cool. I like that. So make sure I ain't got anything turned on there. Good. So what do y'all use where you're at? And I don't just mean you, Jake, but if y'all are in plumbing and you do stuff like this, what materials do y'all normally use? Because normally nowadays we use either PEX or copper for water lines, and it's almost always PVC for the drains. Even for repairs, if we come in now and remove cast iron because of a slab leak or something, we normally come in and replace it with PVC. And that's a cool deal. Man. Juan Lanvos, $5 super chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Sorry if I missed your previous answer. Your shower loses pressure from almost nothing to full force during a typical shower. No washer running. Any ideas? Man, I would, number one, check and see if there's something loose in the cartridge. If it's is it a one-handled shower valve or like a three-handled shower valve? And is it something that, possibly you could change out a cartridge? Maybe it's a loose washer, a seat. I mean, there could be a lot of different things. Normally in a deal like this, another thing maybe to check the shower head. If there's a lot of sediment built up, and I know this sounds crazy, but try to take off the shower head and just turn the shower on and let it run into the shower tub and see if you get a lot of trash or garbage. And I say that because one thing that I've seen before, and it was kind of crazy. Over the course of a shower, sediment was in the riser going up to the shower head. And I guess it'd have to run for a while before enough of it would get down that it would clog the shower head. And I guess it was a tub, because once they pulled the tub, the water would suck backwards and it'd all come back down. And it was kind of a crazy thing because it wouldn't do it all the time. But over the course of a shower, it would do almost exactly what you're talking about. It would kind of build up until you didn't get a lot of pressure. But then when he finished the tub and shower, opened the spout, that water coming out would pull enough of it back down that next time he turned it on, it'd run great. So different ways to look at it and different things to see. But I would check take off the shower head first, see if you can flush that line out. If that doesn't work, then try the possibility of changing a cartridge or seats or washers or something like that, and see if maybe that takes care of the problem. A lot of different things it could be, but man, I love problems like that. The analyzing part of plumbing to figure out what's wrong, what can we do to fix it, what can we do to make it better. Man, I love that part. That makes it so cool. Nia Stefan, how are you? Hey, Roger, watching you from Romania. Love the videos. Keep it up. Man, thank you. Number one, thank you for coming in over here. Nia, what time is it in Romania right now? It's about 4:20 in the afternoon here in Dallas, Texas. And I just, I like to ask questions like that because I know that we have, Neil the Urban Explorer in here. It's probably getting close to midnight where he's at, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, something like that. And, I know that we've got people from all around the world that jump in here, and that's pretty cool. Most of the people probably are here in the United States. And I say mostly, we pretty much know that. We know what our demographics look like. But it's neat that we do get people in from around the world. It's always nice to get feedback from other countries, from other people that do things completely different. So, Nia, thank you so much for jumping in here and just saying hello. We have fun making the videos. So if you're learning something from it, man, I am so grateful that you jumped in. That's what we make it for. To teach people how to fix their plumbing, but also teach plumbers how they can learn to do things better to help them get better at what they do. Monkey knot, no. Bad monkey. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? And it's funny because, look, I love recruiting people into the trades. And number one, if you're a licensed electrician, congratulations. If you're an apprentice, man, even more congratulations to know that you found something you can get in and do. My thing, look, and I've got videos where I plumber versus electrician, plumber versus HVAC. Have we done plumber versus handyman yet? I know that we've talked about it.
I think we need to.
I think we need to too. And that can be plumber, electrician, HVAC versus handyman. The neat thing is, and look, I give all the other trades hard, but man, it's like we're a tribe. And it's like my brother. You know what? I can call my brother everything in the book, but if somebody from outside calls him anything, man, they better look out. And I love the fact that I do. I have a lot of electricians and HVAC techs that jump in, watch my videos, and they say, man, if you just take out the word plumber and put in electrician, you're talking about us. Or if you take out the word plumber and put in HVAC tech, you're talking about us. And the neat thing about it is we are a very unique group of people, meaning, tradespeople, man, we're a little bit different. We think a little bit different. We see the world a little bit different. But at the end of the day, the neat thing about it is, man, we're all mostly hard workers that want to do good, want to do better for ourselves, want to take good care of our customers. And that's really a big deal. So, Monkey Knot, thank you very much. I do appreciate you, number one, jumping in and, asking a question like that. I think it's neat that we do get other trades in here. And, like we talked about a while ago, we're starting a podcast, we're starting a magazine, we're starting a whole new YouTube channel called The Trade Talks. If y'all hadn't gone over there and found it yet, and it's funny, y'all go over there and subscribe to it. Let's get it to 1,000 subscribers before we ever have a video up. Wouldn't that be funny? Okay, so Will said he just put it in the chat. Thank you very much. Wouldn't that be funny, though? Get it to 1,000 subs before we ever put a video up. And Will's actually been working on that video, so I know that it'll be coming up soon. But, man, look, we love what we're doing. And it's getting in here and doing these videos and doing these lives, really. And the videos are fun, but to be able to get in here in the live and Will, you might click on the top three buttons on the right of that where you did it and see if you can pin it. The neat thing about it, though, is we have jumped in here and learned so much about this. But one thing that we learned is we've had so many people in other trades, and I'm going to go back to Monkey Knot real quick. We've had so many people from so many trades come in and say, look, your videos have helped us so much, that they've helped us find a job. They've helped us find out what kind of trade person we want to be. Meaning commercial or residential service or new construction, even union or non-union. And look, I've done every bit of it, so I can pretty much talk to anybody about any of it. And man, the cool thing about it is we saw an opportunity to say, look, we can really help a lot of other people if we'll kind of branch over into the trades, not just plumbing. And with the connections that we've made all the way through this, we just thought it'd be a great idea. And man, I just made that go away, Will. That super chat. Sorry, my fat fingers, I hit the wrong button. Thank you so much. Brent Gomez, how are you? What games? Brent Games. Gomez.
You live too close to Mexico.
Potato.
You live too close to Mexico.
What is the strangest plumbing job you've ever done? Okay, and it's funny because Will and I talked about this the other day. And it's not the strangest, it's really the coolest. As a plumber, I actually got to build Great Wolf Lodge. And the Great Wolf Lodge here in Grapevine, Texas, man, it was so cool because all the water lines are CPVC, Schedule 80. So is that what you mean by strangest or just weirdest? I did have somebody ask me if I would build a marijuana dispensary when that becomes legal. And I told them absolutely. I am called Green Plumbing, Texas Green Plumbing. It adds up. But, my thing is, depends on what you mean by strangest. Building a water park, to me, that is one of the coolest things I've ever done. And it's funny because I've actually reached out to Great Wolf Lodge and said, hey, look, I'd like to come over there and video the mechanical room, the tower piping. There's so many things there that we got to do. And be able to go back and look at it now and talk about it because, God, that was 10 or 15 years ago. I'd have to check and see when Great Wolf opened. But that is one of the most different plumbing jobs I've ever bid. And the funny thing is I had gone to work for a big mechanical contractor, and I was doing sales and helping run the industrial division of it. And I got a phone call one day about this job, and they asked me, is it something y'all be interested in? And me, man, I've got broad shoulders and a big butt. And I'm like, absolutely, we'd be interested in it. So I started looking at it, helped put the estimate together, helped sell the job. The day we got awarded the job, the vice president of the company came up and said, hey, you know that you're going to have to run that job because we don't have any superintendents that can run a job like that. So I had a lot of studying to do in that. So Brent Gomez, whichever you prefer, man, that's one of the strangest, neatest, coolest things I've ever done. And I still look back at it and say, okay, that was a lot of fun. So, man, appreciate that. That's kind of neat. Man, just for strangest, weirdest, man, anytime you go on a service call, it can get strange or weird. You can climb under houses. We had somebody earlier say they climbed under a house, and there were about 20 different breeds of snakes or kinds of snakes. And I'm like, that would freak my stuff out big time. Grizzly Carnage, another cool name. I like that. Would you trust a second-year apprentice to install fixtures and do small service jobs on their own? A second-year apprentice. It depends on what kind of training he's had. Was I the one that trained him? And during his training, did I let him do things like that? Look, I know companies in California that literally train a plumber for 8 or 9 weeks, put them in a $100,000 van, and make them a revenue source. And it's wonderful because I've tried talking to Lisa Hill about it here in Texas. I've actually talked to Brian Francis, the executive director of TDLR, and given him my mindset and what I think about it because, yeah, I truthfully think somebody could be ready in under 2 years. I think, to be honest, you could have somebody ready in less than a year to go out and do small service jobs. And think about it like this. And when I talk about this, about a company in California, they literally bring people in. They train them for 8 or 9 weeks, 3 days a week, meaning 3 days a week you come in, you're on a simulator. You're either rebuilding a toilet, tub and shower valve, a water heater, setting a water heater, repairing a water heater. There's a million different things. But for 8 or 9 weeks, you do that 3 days a week every day. Now, the other 2 days a week, you are literally in a van with a technician that's already been through the training that you've been through, and now you're out with them. You're seeing how they talk, how they sell, how they communicate with customers, how they do things in the real world. And maybe the first 4 or 5 weeks, they're doing all the work, but maybe the next 4 or 5 weeks you're doing all the work. So to me, with the right training program, and look, if y'all want to vote for me for president of the United States, I will run and we will redesign the plumbing, electrical, and HVAC system and make it where we can recruit people faster, get them on a vehicle faster to where they can make money faster. Do I think that's a possibility of trusting somebody in their second year? Absolutely. I think it could be done faster. So, man, great information, great question, because I think that with the population growing the way it is, with everything going on in our world, we need to find a way to get people into the trades quicker, get them trained quicker, where they can make money quicker. And look, I'm in Texas. So in Texas, right now, it's 4,000 hours to become a tradesman, 8,000 to become a journeyman, and then another 2,000 to become a master if you went through a DOL training program. Do I think that whole process can be sped up? Absolutely. But it's going to take politics. It's going to take getting in front of the right people. It's going to create a new training system to help teach people how to do things different. But yeah, I think that it's something that we should be looking at and should be working on. John Franks says, what is an acceptable flow and how do you measure it? Acceptable flow for what? Are we talking water? Are we talking sewer? You measure water flow by GPM. You measure sewer flow. Basically, it's about the same. How many gallons and flow rate and open air? There's a lot of, is it a laminar flow or a turbulent flow? There's a lot of different things to know. But flow for drain is normally figured by fixture units. How many fixture units will a certain pipe size carry and whatnot? So I would really need to know, John Franks, what kind of flow are you talking about in order to tell you how it's measured, and lots of different ways to look at it. So if you're still in here, put a note in there and say, hey, I'm talking about water or sewer, and you know why you're trying to figure out the flow. I actually studied to take the CPD, Certified Plumbing Designer test, and I got to tell you, that was a freaking hard test. But I had so much fun doing it because I learned to look at plumbing in a completely different way. You're looking at, like I said, laminar flow and turbulent flow, and what is the inside diameter of the pipe, and what's the wall thickness, and what is the smoothness of it. I mean, a lot of different things to look at. So it's kind of crazy. Damian Soares says, is there also a layer of aluminum in your PEX pipes? Here in Belgium, it's called Alpex. You know what? I've heard of that. There's not over here. It's cross-linked polyethylene. There's not an aluminum layer in it, but there are different chemicals and properties in the different types of PEX. And I think that's what leads to flexibility, expandability, things like that. There's a lot of different ways to look at it, but we actually don't have an aluminum layer in it like you're talking about, because I do know what you're talking about. They don't do that here. So Damian, my question is, with the aluminum level in it, is it expansion PEX? Do you expand it, or is it crimpable? And how does it go together? And also, do y'all have reduced size fittings? Because, man, that's just one I've got a problem with over here. But it's something that happens quite often. It's interesting that, look, we're all trying to transport water, whether you are in the United Kingdom, whether you're in California or Dallas, Texas, we are trying to convey water. And talking about conveying water, Ansley Smith, that's exactly what it is. I know you can't see down in here, but it's pure water. Matter of fact, it's Mountain Valley water. Unfortunately, Julia and Will not let me start drinking this early in the day. I'm joking, but it is water. We're all trying to convey water. And whether you're in Russia, the United Kingdom, or Texas, it really doesn't matter to me. We should all be able to come up with a way that works best for all of us, whether you're conveying water or sewer water. And, one thing that I would love to see one day, and, Julie will get on me here for getting on my soapbox, but, I would love to see a national certification in the United States for plumbers. Again, if you want me to make this happen, you got to vote for me for president, and I'll find a way to make it happen. But I don't want just a national certification for plumbers. I want a national certification for plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs. And here's why. And think about this right now. New Orleans fixing to get hit by a hurricane again. It happens often. And the thing is, we've got fires going on in California. We've had power outages up and down the East Coast from hurricanes. If there's 20 plumbers in Texas not working that need to support their family, and I'm just saying Texas because that's where I am, and they could go to Missouri because the hurricane blew up through there, tornadoes came up, and they need help. If we had a national certification, we could make that happen real fast. And that's one thing that I really think would be great for all of us. And it's one thing that I'm looking at. Thank you, Julie. I don't know that she wants me for president, I promise. But my thought process here is, and think about this, guys. If you become a plumber in California and work is slow, and a hurricane hits New Orleans, and you woke up tomorrow morning and the mayor of New Orleans is saying, hey, look, we need plumbers, we need electricians, we need HVAC techs. And you're like, hey, look, I've got a national certification right here. I can go to Texas and be a plumber. I can go to New Orleans and be a plumber, or go wherever. Wouldn't that be great? So, man, to me, that's a big deal. And I think it's something that we should all start looking at, thinking about, and talking about. But then also, you kind of get rid of a lot of these state boards and state regulation. I hate the fact that the state of Texas can mess with my plumbing license. What if we had a national tri-board of plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians to where we kind of all work together and helped each other? We could become, a strong entity to make the world a better place for all of us, but not just for us, for the customers that we serve. So, Ainsley Smith, how I got from water to there, I have no idea, but I do love my Yetis. And I've got another one back here. I love my Yetis. I love my Yeti coolers, my bags. Like, Yeti's a great product. And yes, I drink lots of water. So thank you very much. I appreciate you asking. I do got to tell you, Julie and I are going down to South Texas not this coming weekend, but next week for Garrison Brothers. They're releasing their Cowboy Bourbon. And producer Dave, I don't know if you're still in here or not, but I need to jump in Miranda's live later and mention that because we're going to Austin the 25th or 26th. I guess it's the 26th. Just for the release of the bourbon to get some. They only do it once a year. They're only selling 1,000 bottles, and we're going to go down there and make sure we get some. But we actually picked some up this weekend, not the Cowboy batch, but their single barrel. So looking forward to trying that and seeing how that is. So Juan Lanvos, again, $5 super chat. Thank you very much. More info. Shower is 3-handle with tub. Center handle needs to be over tightened, but still a steady small stream of hot water out the faucet, not the shower head. So here's what I would say, and I'm not sure where you're located, but we have those here. A 3-handled Price Fister is a pretty popular one. You may be able to order a new diverter for it. That could be part of the problem. Maybe heat, thermal expansion changes things up a little bit. It could be a loose washer in there. There could be a whole lot of different things. what I would do is shut the water off to the house. I've actually got my tool bag down here. I started to say I've got my seat wrenches and my stem wrenches and stuff. Shut the water down to the house. Pull the handles off. You may need a handle puller. Go in there and take your seats and washers apart. Look at everything. I would go in and completely rebuild it. It's probably a brass valve, so you should be able to do this. If you can see what brand it is, that helps a lot in the beginning. So, man, that would be the steps that I would take, and I would find a way to get in there, rebuild that thing, and start with that, see if that's a problem. If you don't want to start there, go ahead and pull the shower head like I talked about earlier. Pull the shower head, turn on the hot water or cold water, either one, or maybe each one at a time. Open up the diverter, let it come through that shower head, see if you can blow out any garbage there and see if that helps any. So, Juan Lanvos, thank you very much. I hope that helps. Man, jump back in the live or even just jump in a video and leave us a comment and let us know if that helped or if that took care of it. The neat thing about plumbing, and I think that's why I love being a service plumber, is I've got a very analytical mind, and man, there's so many different things it could be. And I try to look at, this is probably, let's start right here and do this and do this. But man, literally, it could be a whole bunch of different things. And I love just trying to go through the process and see what all we can come up with. Susan V says, my toilet has been leaking water at the base and the top. Now, do you mean at the base and the top of the bowl, or the base and the top of the tank? Because you've got three different areas there. If it's leaking at the base of the bowl, you probably need to pull and reset your toilet, check your flange. You probably need a new bowl wax, maybe new toilet bolts. No telling what it is there. If it's leaking at the top of the bowl or the bottom of the tank, you may need a new tank to bowl gasket and replace those bolts and nuts, probably washers, things like that, to keep it from leaking. And if it's leaking at the top of the tank, it's a possibility that your fill valve is adjusted improperly and it's letting the water get too high, and that could be it. So a lot of different options and ideas there. Susan V, I hope that helps you out a little bit. We've got a video, How to Stop a Running Toilet Guaranteed. It'll show you how to do some of these, not all of these, but at least then you'll kind of get in there and get the idea of some of the parts that I'm talking about and things that you may be able to do to fix it. But do me a favor, man, shoot me a message, send me some pictures. Anytime y'all want to send me pictures of faulty plumbing or videos, not just pictures, videos or pictures, send them to video@rogerwakefield.com. We'll try to get a look at it and see what we can do to help. If they're crazy, bad installation, stuff like that, that's really what we started that for, and that's really worked out pretty good. Man, we have got a bunch of really good pictures. We need to do another video about that, Will, because I've got some plumbers across the country that have sent me enough pictures or videos for a whole video. I'm gonna have it out Friday. That means I got to shoot it tomorrow. Got to get busy. Pete Rowe, how are you? Why do you talk so much trash about shark bite? And Pete, it's not that I talk trash about it. It's people ask me all the time, are shark bites as good as copper fittings? And my answer is no. And I say that because we probably go out for every one solder joint that we may go out and fix a leak on. We probably go out and fix leaks on 3 or 4 shark bites. And I know that, and look, I've talked to some of the people at Shark Bite, and look, I don't hate Shark Bite. I hate that their product leaks leaks a lot of the time. And so my thing is look, and it's funny because if you go look at my videos, people will get in and say, well, you just hate Shark Bite because they're taking money out of your pocket because people don't need to call a plumber. It's like, do you see how many videos I make teaching people to fix their own plumbing? I'm trying to make it where people don't have to call a plumber. Not really, but at least I want them to understand the things that they can do or the things they can't do, or maybe the things that they need to learn to do if they want to be able to do it better. But if Shark Bite worked 100% of the time, because to me a solder joint a copper 90 works 100% of the time if you solder it right. So the thing is, there's a problem with shark bite. Either people aren't learning to install them right, and whether that's plumbers or whoever else. But Pete Rowe, my biggest problem about shark bites is when a professional installer, a licensed plumber, goes out and installs it and charges people for just carrying around a fitting and sticking two pieces of pipe together by hand. Man, why not just tell the customer, hey, why don't you go to Home Depot, buy this and do this? Don't sell that as a professional job. It's not. A kindergartner can put it together and make it work. So don't go out and charge people a whole lot of money and then do something like that. That's when I start talking bad about shark bites. But it's because they leak. It's because they leak often. And if they'd come up with a better system, which I've even tried to come up with, and I may have one, so shark bite if you want to call me. But the thing is, I've seen people pop in their entire water heater and just let it drip because they're like, well, you know what? Look, at least we have hot water. I've seen people pop in an entire valve box in the front yard and it leaks, and they're like, well, it's underground. Nobody really knows. No, but you're still paying for that water. Do you realize that? So, Pete, look, I have nothing against shark bite. I wish they worked better. Man, I would actually sell the heck out of them, because if they work better and I could recommend them to people, then I'd put a link down there and say, hey, if you don't want to call a plumber, use this. My problem is we've gone back and fixed a ton of leaks because people aren't installing them right. And if you're going to design a product, make it where people can install it flawlessly. If you're going to tell people, look, anybody can do this. And that's my thing. Joseph Diggs, I believe we talked about this earlier. What makes your toilet flush slowly? Either the holes in the rim of the bowl where the water comes out when you do flush it, those can be clogged. It can be hard water, calcium, magnesium, any kind of a buildup like that. A stoppage coming out of the toilet, either your wax ring, the cone on it, the flange, roots. I mean, it could be anything in the world down there. Or your fill valve is not letting it fill enough. Your flush valve isn't holding the flapper up long enough. And it could be a number of things. And you've just kind of got to go through and troubleshoot all of them to determine what the problem is, what you can do to make it better, and is it going to work? Sometimes it can literally be as easy as changing a toilet. Going out and buying a new toilet. How old is this toilet? Is it going to be worth trying to clean all the calcium and magnesium, all the hard water out of it to get you through where you need to be? And that's a question for you. It's not me. I don't ever walk in and tell people, hey, we have to change this toilet. What I do is walk in and tell them, hey, there's a lot of different opportunities here, things that we can try. But at the end of the day, you've got to look at what option is best for you and see if you can make that work. Jack's Plumbing Videos, how are you? What type toilet supply lines do you use? You don't like braided hoses because if someone pees on it, it'll rust. You use PEX risers. They will last 40 years. Jack, we use the braided hoses. I think ProFlow is probably the brand that we use most. That they're the most readily available for me. We've used the nylon ones before. I guess I've seen them rust, but probably not as often as, one of the worst ones is the old corrugated stainless. I say stainless, the corrugated chrome that went up that had the cone washer for the toilet that you threaded down on it. That was a bad one because, literally I tell my plumbers, don't ever touch it. Just tell people, hey, we have to change this out. And tell the customer, look, if you start to see signs of rust, it's signs that maybe it needs to be replaced, and let them know, look, if this gets wet, whether from somebody urinating on it, from water leaking, for whatever problem is, there's a lot of different reasons that it could be wet, but you want to find out what those reasons are, why are they getting wet, or why could they be getting wet, and what's the price to pay? Meaning, if it does start rusting, you may want to replace this because the the wrap on the outside, even though it's stainless, the braid on the outside, if it does slowly rust and corrode or anything like that, your hose is going to lose its support system, its strength. So, man, that's kind of a long-winded answer, but I'd look at the idea of, and look, I like the flex hoses, but let customers know, look, if they get wet in any way at all, they can start to rust, and that can weaken the strength of the hose and cause you problems later. So if you ever do see it rusting, you probably want to call us back to have us come back and change it out. What does BTU stand for and how is it measured? Asking for a friend. Amber Mendoza, 11, that would be British thermal unit. And that is, how many degrees does it take, or let me get this right. How much thermal energy does it take to raise the temperature of water 1 degree? That's what your BTU is. And I hope he's a good friend that you're asking for. BTUs are what we use to determine how much gas a fixture, an appliance, or anything like that takes to burn. When we come in, if we're doing a gas load calculation chart for a tankless water heater, for instance, we need to come in, we need to determine how many BTUs are in the total house. Will the meter handle it? Will the supply line handle it? And will the gas line coming into the house handle it? So there's a lot of different things we have to look at, but Amber, that is really a good question. British thermal unit is it. You can convert that over to cubic feet an hour, CFMs, cubic feet a minute. The thing is, at the end of the day, you've got to figure out how much gas it takes to heat something or how much gas a fixture can use. And you've got to make sure that you've got big enough supply to keep that process going. Meaning, if I've got a gas line that comes out and catches a fireplace and a tankless water heater, you don't want that tankless water heater to draw so much gas that it pulls the supply from the fireplace, so that now when the gas comes back on, you've just got raw gas going in the fireplace. So a lot of different ways to look at it, but great question, Amber. Thank you for asking that. I hope that helped a little bit. You've always got to be looking at the code, the terminology, the tools, the techniques, the materials, everything involved, because you've got to stay ahead of the game, y'all. And that's what I talked about earlier about getting up and studying this every day and learning it. That way you can become the top in your industry. Jose then said, thank you for the super chat. Is ProPress worth it? I'll tell you what, I think it is. I love ProPress. I love, and look, I've used Milwaukee Rigid. I've used it all the different tools. I've used different brands of ProPress material. At the end of the day, if there's ever materials that can save us labor, labor is the most expensive cost to small company owners. Meaning, every piece of material is factored in. Meaning, if I give someone a price to do a water heater, I know what the water heater costs. I know what the material costs. I know what the drip leg costs. I know what the pan costs. I know what the valves cost. I know my cost on everything. And all those prices are factored in. The only price that's not factored in, that you can't be exactly 100% right about, is the labor. And that's why it's so critical, because if you're not training your people right, they're not doing the job right, there's a lot of different things to look at, but the labor's the one that can kill you. And I say that because if I figure the national average and say, okay, it should take 2 hours to install a water heater, and our labor is based on that, our price is based on that, our cost is based on that, everything is based on 2 hours for this, plus the cost of the labor, plus overhead and advertising and marketing and permits and fees and inspections and profit and everything else. When you figure all that in, and then it takes your plumbers 6 hours to do it, guess where that money comes out of? The only place it can. It comes out of profit. So if you can come up with ProPress or any other methods or materials to save time on labor, as long as it doesn't come back and cost later, as long as it's not shark bite that may blow out later and cost you a fortune. But if you can come up with a means or method to save labor and still get the job done safe, secure, on time, and under budget, you're gonna be making a product that's worth something. So, Jose, then I hope that answers it for you. Yes, I think ProPress is definitely worth it, and I think it's going to be a way for us to do more work in the future faster and make more money as plumbers, as plumbing company owners, every bit of it. Anything we can do to save labor on jobs is going to be worthwhile and make it good for all of us. I got a super chat from Dog's Boy. Thank you very much. What do I do if liquid plumber didn't unclog my sink and I can't call a plumber? Well, we've got a video that we just did about Orbeez, putting them down the sink. They clogged up the P-trap. Yep. We've got plungers over here. We've got a top sink. I'm going to call it a top sink auger. It's really a urinal auger. Start with a plunger. Matter of fact, go watch that video where we put the Orbeez down the sink drain in the P-trap. Because, number one, you need to find out what's got it clogged up. Is it something that is in the sink, the riser, the P-trap, the trap arm? Where's it at? Can you get to it? Can you unclog it successfully and make it work? But now I got to tell you this, if you've already put liquid plumber in it, you got to be really careful because those are harsh chemicals that you don't want on your skin, you don't want in your eyes, you don't want in your lungs. You now need to be very, very careful. And even if you ever did call a plumber, once you've put chemicals like that in there, you need to tell them, oh, by the way, we've got a problem. I'll use your words, we put liquid plumber down the drain and it didn't work. Because here's the thing, that bad chemical is still in there when the plumber comes out an hour or a day later. So please make sure you tell them, because you don't want them to go blind because you put a bad chemical down the drain and now they're going to have problems with it. So what I would try to do is go back and look at the video that I made with the Orbeez in it, take the P-trap apart, drain it into a bucket, rinse everything down, have on gloves, have on goggles, have on a face mask, have anything on that you can to help make it easier to do and better for you. But be very careful. That liquid plumber, it can be very dangerous chemicals. And we've made videos teaching people how to get in there and make those repairs without having to do that. And hopefully you'll find something there that'll work.
Dog's Boy just sent another super chat saying they used a plunger and it was barf.
It's what we keep them around for. Hopefully not a lot of barf in it. But as you can see, this is a very shallow cup plunger. This is great for a lavatory because it will go right over the basket strainer and everything. And man, when it gets a hold of it, I mean, I could probably pick this table up right now. Instead, I'll pry it up slowly so I don't. The cool thing is, and I'll get that out of the way so it doesn't mess up all my cameras. The cool thing about it is, and I hate that it's barf, but that's one of the things that should go down the toilet, not the kitchen sink drain. I tell people all the time in your toilet, puke, piss, poop, and paper. Now I got to tell you, and I used to have some in here. The Cottonelle flushable wipes actually dissolve pretty good. And it's so funny because I saw somebody take a picture the other day. It was a plumber. Took a picture in a Facebook group of Cottonelle flushable wipes. They're setting up on the back counter of the toilet. And he says, man, I love seeing this when I come up to a job because I know this is money in the bank. And it's like, yeah, you know what? We took apart we took Cottonelle flushable wipes. We took some baby wipes, a different brand, put them in pans, put them in red Solo cups, to see what they do. And I got to tell you, the Cottonelle flushable wipes freaking dissolved. I mean, almost like completely fell apart. It was like pulling wet toilet paper out of water. It just fell apart. So anyway, not to go off on there, but puke, poop, pee, and paper are things that you put down the toilet, not the kitchen sink. They will clog up a P-trap. God, most of that stuff would. I remember a buddy of mine calling me one day. He says, man, I need you to come to my house. I said, how come? He said, I need a plumber. I said, oh, okay, what's wrong? He says, I came in sick last night, and I was sitting on the toilet, and I felt myself getting sick, so I leaned over and threw up in the tub, and now it stopped up. I said, yeah, you called the wrong plumber. So anyway, he had to end up cleaning that up himself, and then we were able to get it unstopped. Got a super chat from Sweaty Socks. Is plumber crack real? Man, I got to tell you, really, for a lot of plumbers, it is. And I know that's not what you want to hear, but it's true. If you look at a lot of plumbers, they don't wear their jeans right. They don't wear a belt. They let their pants get down too low on their butt, and they might be slightly overweight, and even some skinny plumbers. I've seen skinny plumbers with plumber's crack. But yeah, it is. If you know, and here's a bad thing about a plumber, and I had this happen to me the other day. I was out working and got so hot and so sweaty that my jeans got loose. And I mean loose, like baggy loose, like, okay, something's not fitting right. And I noticed mine were getting baggy on me. And that was the thought that went through my head is, okay, wait, if I bend over, I'm going to have a plumber's crack. So yes, it's real. And if you wear a belt, if you wear jeans that fit, if you try to take care of yourself, you can keep that from happening. But yes, plumber's crack is real. A lot of plumbers, I think, are proud of it. You know, it is what it is. You deal with it. You go on and you do what you got to do. Victor Koppel again, thank you very much. What's your opinion on those pressurized air guns, toilet uncloggers? Here we are lucky. Here we don't deal with toilet paper on pipes. They go on the trash bin. And Victor, that's cool, and I like that because, you know, number one, I think that those air gun, I'm going to call them jetters, air jet, something like that. I think that they probably work. Matter of fact, I mean, I've had one before, so I know that they do. Will and I are building something to show you how a toilet's piped in, what it does when it clogs, what we can do to unclog it in different ways. And that's one that we're going to use. But I truthfully, look, I think that if you can blow enough air down a line to unstop a blockage, I think that's a good thing. You know, and the thing is too, you know, like you said, your paper goes in toilets. Doesn't go in the toilet. It goes in the trash bin. You know, down in Mexico, that's what it is. Look, you don't flush paper down the toilet. You put it in the trash bin. You carry the trash out, and, I mean, look, it's biodegradable. It is what it is. I think they work, and I'm really wanting to get one and play with it. Like I said, that's on mine and Will's list. We're going to do a video about that once we get our assembly built to really show you everything that it does. But yeah, that's one that we're definitely working on. So that'll be a good one. And I'm looking forward to that one because that's one, it's just once we get our deal built and do what we're talking about doing, it'll be really cool to see it and see how it works. So looking forward to that one myself.
Just want to say before you go to the next one, it is 5 o'clock.
It is.
So we got about 30 minutes left, right?
We got about 30 minutes left. And I don't know how many questions you've got built up in there or where you're at.
There's a ton still left. Yeah.
So guys, you may want to slow down on the questions. I know we've still got almost a couple hundred people in here. You know, you may want to slow down on the questions. I know that it gets crazy this time of day because everybody starts putting in their questions. I know that we can't get to all of them. I know Will's really, really good about trying to get to the super chats. and man, we do always try. But if you've got questions, either hurry up and get them in quick, and if we'll try to get to them. But man, we may not get to all of them. So we normally about this time just kind of let everybody know, look, we're doing the best we can. Will's over there sweating, so I know there's been a lot of them coming in. He's done good about getting them up there. And at this point, and I'll start trying to go through them a little bit quicker. So thank y'all very much. Tesla Plays says, hi, Roger. My shower has water in it, and it's still draining. How is this possible? Your biggest fan on 2020. I love it. If your shower still has water in it and it's draining really slow. You can either pull the grate on your shower and try and run a top sink snake or a sewer machine, something down through there. I've seen a lot of people take a clothes hanger, bend a hook, reach down there. You will get hair and gel and gunk and all kinds of funky stuff down there. But the cool thing is, it's normally something that a homeowner can take care of themselves. But I got to tell you, it can get really funky down there. So be careful when you do that. It's liable to smell bad, and you're liable not to like it. Then you're liable to be cleaning puke out of your shower drain too, because we've seen that before too. So pretty neat. But yeah, Will's right. It's after 5 o'clock. I know that we got a lot going on. Okay, from Jose then, thank you. This is a tip for your video editor. Make sure they get it. Thumbs up. I will take care of that, brother. Matter of fact, they get lots of tips. That's a good thing, though. I do appreciate that, Jose. That's really cool because I'm telling you, between content creators and editors and all the things that these guys do, man, they take good care of me. They make sure that things look right on the channel. And man, I love having these guys around. They are wonderful and they do great things for me. So thank you very much for seeing it, for noticing it, and for the super chat for them. I will definitely make sure that they get it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. What kind of questions do y'all have about plumbing? And I ask this a lot because we're always looking at videos to make that you guys want to see. And look, we have a lot of fun. We get to do a lot of neat things, and we thoroughly enjoy it. But I always like to ask people, look, are there any videos that we could make to help y'all? And don't get me wrong, I can't make a video on, roughing in a 50-story office building. That doesn't come up my alley every day. And if I did make a video on how to do that, it'd take me 50 years to make it and get all the details. But, man, we like making videos that people want. So anytime an idea crosses your mind or you see something, like I said, videos, pictures, things like that, man, send them to us. We've seen some crazy stuff, but we even get pictures. It's like, okay, I could have never even imagined this. So that makes it neat. Nick says, do you have to upsize when you make a repair on a copper pipe and replacing it with PEX pipe? It really depends on what you use, Nick. I would say yes, meaning if I go from half-inch copper to half-inch PEX back up to half-inch copper, by the time I put these fittings on that reduce size in order to crimp that PEX on, I've created two restrictions. And really just one, because it's going to reduce down. It's pretty much going to stay down. But my thing is, yes. If what I would do, I would go from, let's say I was doing that on half-inch. I would get an adapter to go from half-inch sweat to 3/4 PEX. Then I would get 3/4 PEX pipe, and then I would get another adapter on the other end. That way I've increased the size of it. So, yes, I would absolutely do that. Great question. Now, see, Nick, that's what I'm looking at. Man, that is thinking outside the box and coming up with, hey, would you do this? This is real case scenario. Yes, I would. Great question, man. I like that. Thank you for putting that in. Man, we still got, or at least it looks like, about 160 people in here. That is cool. And trying to see, man, did we get any thumbs up today or? Always check because that's what YouTube looks at to say, hey, Are people watching the content? Are they liking it? Are they doing this? Yeah, we got 100, 140 in there. So thank y'all very much. I appreciate that. What makes a toilet constantly keep refilling, constantly running? Aisha Greenridge, I got that right, Greenidge. Here's the deal. It can be different things. And the video that I've made, How to Stop a Running Toilet Guaranteed, pretty much addresses all three of them. It could be a flapper that's letting water run from the tank to the bowl. It could be the fill valve that's not sitting properly when it comes up, and I teach people how to clean it or just replace it. Same thing on the flapper, how to replace it. Or it could be the flush valve. When you pull the handle down, what lifts the flapper and what the flapper sets on is actually the flush valve. So it could be any one of those things. But I'm telling you, a running toilet can get really, really expensive. So, take care of that pretty quick. That it can save you a lot of money. And in my videos where I teach you how to do it, it's not real hard to do. And actually, it's pretty cool because I've had people come back in and leave messages like, wow, I was able to fix this, and it really does surprise me. But the cool thing about it is, man, they are so excited that they fixed it themselves. They didn't have to call a plumber, and it saved them a lot of money. Spartan IV, how are you? How hard would it be to replace the main cast iron soil stack that's tied into a concrete pipe? Possible to DIY. Can't find much about concrete pipes. 1950s house, crawl space, 1 bath in Fort Worth. You know what? I've actually done some work over in Fort Worth where we tied onto a 4-inch concrete pipe. I believe Fernco makes an adapter to go from like 4-inch concrete to 4-inch cast iron. Your idea is pretty much the same. And I say cast iron, it could be cast iron or PVC, the one. Your idea, the pipe's going to be about the same. You just need that adapter on the outside. Go to Fernco's website and maybe even Google Fernco gasket 4-inch cast iron to 4-inch PVC. They make one. Most of the cast iron pipe really is not that bad. It had such a thick wall thickness that even if it's worn a little bit on the inside where you're seeing pebbles and stuff, it still holds up pretty good. I don't find very many that are cracked or broken or leaking or anything like that. So, man, that's a good one. And the house that I worked on over there, I think was a 1930s or 40s house. We ended up having to replace all the galvanized piping inside the walls. The biggest problem I ran to over there was changing out a tub and shower valve. We had to completely replace it because couldn't find the stems, seats, washers, anything. Even whenever I carried it down to Teeters is like, yeah, you stumped us here. We have no idea what type valve this is. So that was pretty interesting because, God, I've been plumbing here in Dallas for about 40 years. It's not very often you stump Teeters that they can't tell you what it is that's going on there. Michael Brennan, hi, Roger. What's your favorite place to scuba dive? And I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm going to let Will answer because mine is the Palancar Reef down in Cozumel. And God, I think the last time we went, you went.
Yeah, that was the last time I've been scuba diving, and I've really got the urge lately to go back.
I know, man, I'm ready. Okay, but do you remember like the wall? What was your favorite part? Do you like going through the caves, the walls?
I liked.
Will jumped in. First time down there, we went diving 5 days in a row, and I mean, he was acting like a professional.
I liked Palancar bricks was the first one that I really liked because when you get in the water and you look down, you just see those bricks laid out in the cross in the sand. That was really cool. And then the wall was awesome too because you come out of that little cave type deal.
And you're in the middle of a wall.
And you look down and there's just nothing. And you look up and there's a surface. That was really cool.
Yeah, and I think that was the San Francisco Wall or something like that. There's one that I was wanting to do down there called the Devil's Throat, which is like the same type deal. You go through and it's kind of a tight cave, but then when you come out, they're like it opens and you're like in the middle of a wall. And man, all kinds of cool places. But Michael, I've dove in Florida down in the Keys, and it was okay. But I got to tell you, the Palancar Reef in Cozumel was fantastic. Neat diving. I've dove there 3 or 4 or 5 times. I've probably got about 50 dives under my belt. I love it down there though. It's beautiful. The flowers, the reef itself, the fish. Man, Will's got the sharpest eyes in the world. I mean, you'd look over at Will and Will's waving like, "Hey, lionfish," and the dive masters will come over and kill it and bag it. So it was pretty cool. And then even the last time we were down there, we went and ate at a restaurant that served. I mean, we ordered a dinner. Man, it was a tray probably 3 foot by 2 foot, and it's me and Will and Julie. And it was nothing but lionfish, and it was prepared 6 different ways. And there was more freaking lionfish than we could eat. But God, it was amazing. That's one of the best meals I've probably ever had. Jack's Plumbing Videos says, where do you get your plumbing parts? Do you order them or do you get them at store? I get my fittings at True Value. Jack, it's funny because Will and I were actually talking earlier. We're making a video for, plumbing supply versus the box stores or the big box stores. And, my thing is, look, and we're associated with Ferguson. We order most of our materials from Ferguson Plumbing Supply, and we do it online. We can get online one day and order it and have it delivered to the shop. And I love that. Think about it. You get your stuff at True Value. And Jack, where are you at? I don't remember. I know that we've asked before. But here's the deal is, and people say all the time, well, Roger, I saw you or I saw your guys at, the big box store. And here's my problem with that is if we go to a job and literally we're short 1 3/4 inch 90. And play with me here because I need to work on this video. But a guy leaves to go pick up 1 3/4 inch 90. It takes him 20 minutes to get there. It takes him 20 minutes to go through the store, get what he needs and get out. 20 minutes to get back. It took him 1 hour. Now, say that he makes $50 an hour. And, I've got to pay the insurance. I've got to pay FICA, Social Security. I've got to pay all this. So literally it probably costs me double. He also gets vacation and holidays and all the other benefits that you got to work in. So now we're probably talking up to triple. But let's just say double, just to make it really easy. So I've got to pay $100 for him to go get that 1 3/4 inch 90. Now, say he's doing $1,000 job and say that I've got everything in my world set up magic and it's going wonderful and I make 20% profit on $1,000 job, or should. But now I've paid $100 for that 1 3/4 inch 90. I just lost 50% of my profit. And man, that's a tough way to look at it, but that's why I have a problem with it. I love ordering from the supply house and having things delivered. My guys don't have to go. We don't have to stand at a counter and wait. But don't get me wrong, we do sometimes. If they've got 3 fill valves on their van and they install 2 of them at a house in the morning and they know they're going to another house and they could possibly install 2 more, they need to stop and get them. I would rather them go by Ferguson or the supply house and get it taken care of. But man, that's something that we've got to look at every day. And Jack, that's a great question because, we look at that all the time. What's the best thing for the plumbing company? And that's a video that we're working on. We were talking about it today. But that's one that we've got to work on is to what can we do to be more efficient? And the way to become more efficient is order the materials you're going to need in advance, have them on hand or on stock, and do that. But we look at what is the price of a supply house like Ferguson versus a big box store. And to be honest, it's smarter for us to order online from a plumbing supply house and have things delivered and it really does. It makes a big, big difference. Mark Masters, how are you, sir? You did a service call today that took around 20 minutes. You sometimes feel bad when you give the bill, charging for a full hour. What are my thoughts on this? Mark, here's the deal. And this is good because we literally made a video about that this morning. I think it'll be out Wednesday. But it's things that you hate to hear from a customer, or things customers should never say to a plumber or any residential service person. Mark, here's the deal. Number one, and I don't know what you did, but you've got some parts involved, I'm assuming. You've also got the time it takes to get there. You've also got the time it takes to get all those parts stocked on your truck that, you think, well, Roger, look, it's just a truck. It's always stocked. Yeah, but somebody paid you to stock it, whether it was the owner of the company or whoever it was. The other thing is you're getting paid, or your plumbing company is getting paid for your knowledge to know what it takes to fix it, what it takes to fix it right. If it took you around 20 minutes, I'm sure it took you 20 minutes to get there. I'm sure it takes you 20 minutes to get to your next job, stuff like that. Take you 20 minutes to write up estimate or order the parts that you have to replace, things like that. There's a lot of things that go into this. Man, that does not bother me. And I don't want that to sound wrong. I don't want to show up at somebody's house for 20 minutes, do nothing, and charge them $300. But we've got different levels of pricing. If we just change a flapper for somebody, because that's all they need, I think it's 107, 109. I don't know what it is. But man, it's making sure that is the right part to fix it, and they're not going to have to call you back. You're selling value. You're selling value and knowledge and things like that. So, Mark, look, brother, I think it's good that you think about it that way. It shows that you care about your customers. But also at the end of the day, the customer has to get taken care of. They have to be given great value. But you also want to get paid, meaning your plumbing company pays you for an hour. And I say that here in Dallas, we have what we call a 50% loss time, meaning for every 4 hours my guys work, they've got about 4 hours of windshield time. And that's on an average for a week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Depends on how good we are at dispatching and keeping an eye on what needs to be kept up with. So the thing is, in the long run, and it comes out to be a wash, because there may be days that you go on a job and you're there an hour and 20 minutes, but really you only charge for an hour because that's what your flat rate pricing says. So it normally does. It normally comes out to be fair for everybody in the long run. It just may not always seem that way. Chapo Man, how are you? Says, can you do videos for basic homeowner upkeep on their home? And Chapo, we've really done that. We've got videos. I'm sorry, y'all, my eyes itching. I had eye surgery done on my right eye about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It's still not right, but every now and then it'll start itching. Basic upkeep, like, doing a sewer water test to know if you've got a leak under your house. Turning on and off your water meter, do you know how? Turning water on and off at your valve box, do you know how? Flushing a water heater, flushing a tankless water heater, unclogging a toilet. There's so many that we do that can help people. Chapo Man, if you hadn't gone through my videos yet, check them out. We've got a lot of videos where we teach people how to do different things. Well, will you go grab my eye drops off my desk, please? A little bitty gray bottle with a yellow lid, or yellow with a gray lid. So anyway, we've got a lot of videos that we've done that teach people how to do a lot of different things like that. The cool thing about it is, man, if you get in there and you're not sure about one, leave a comment, send us a message. We constantly try to make videos that people are wanting. So if there's something for sure that you're like, man, I wish I could find a video that teaches us how to do this. If it's something we can do, we will. And we will, and we'll find a way to make that happen and see what we can do for you. I'm going to put an eye drop in real quick while Will pulls up a comment. Yeah, I already got rid of it. Yes, sir. Thank you. Hadn't disappeared yet? No. That's what I should start doing, telling you, hey, I just cleared it. Yeah. Then you can throw the next one up. Do I pay my people weekly or bi-weekly? Plum Master, we pay our guys every week. Our pay period goes Wednesday through Tuesday, and then we pay them on that Friday. That's clear, Will. So we do that so that, number one, the pay period ends on Tuesday. They're paid 3 days later. And we do that just to make it better for them. It helps us keep our money moving faster. Kind of makes it harder on us sometimes because we may not have everything collected by the time we pay, but it is what it is. Cannon Plumbing and Drain LLC, good to have you in here. Love the vids. Austin and Bastrop, Texas, plumber representing. Love that. We are actually headed down to just outside of Lukenbach to the Garrison Brothers Brewery or Distillery in Key or Kai or High, Hye, I believe. Hye, Texas, over by Lukenbach. That one's Clear Will. So kind of glad to have you in here. We're actually headed down for a bourbon release. Looking forward to it. Triscuits, how are we doing? Says, hi, Roger. Just finished work today. Tough day. I have a new foreman who turned you loose and really doesn't want to teach anything. He just hides out in the trailer, not explaining anything. Brother, I hate to hear that. That one's Clear, Will. I hate to hear that because Triscuit, look, man, we've all got to get trained and get knowledge and learn what we're doing. I just hope that things are going good for you. And man, it's been a little while. I hope that you are doing good and you know what all's going on. And man, when you're ever in a position like that, I hope it goes well. Okay, now Josh, that's not a funny comment. Did you ever fix the chip on your counter from the dishwasher? If not, you can do a video on fixing it. Josh, I did. That one's Clear. I actually did. I actually fixed it during that video. So by the end of it, you saw it was there. We had put, man, it was just a piece of Formica that chipped off. I had some glue there and put it back on before my wife even found out about it. And to be honest, she can't even tell. So it worked out pretty good. Tasnek Khan. As an engineer, what can I do in the design phase to make sure it increases serviceability for trades personnel? There's only so much I can foresee on a screen. Man, that's a great question. That's Clear, Will. What you always want to think about is what it's going to be like to come back later. Are there enough cleanouts? Is there accessibility? Accessibility is probably the biggest problem. And the funny thing about it is, you're right. It's hard to see on paper. My son is an estimator for a big mechanical contractor here in Dallas. And even whenever I was working with CAD and helping design jobs and do stuff, it's hard to see everything. The biggest thought processes that I can tell you are serviceability and accessibility. How can things be worked on and how can they be gotten to? Because if you can get to it, you can work on it, and that makes a big deal. The official Sal Rex, how are you? Would you ever live stream one of your plumber jobs? That one's Clear, Will. Probably not. And the only reason being is you need permission from people to even video it. And then if you get in and live stream and they say something or do something, even so little as turning on a radio and hearing music or turning on a TV show and hearing part of that could get me in trouble on my YouTube channel from copyright. So it's really hard to do things like that. When we're in here, we control this environment, meaning nobody comes in here playing music. Nobody comes in here doing anything that can get us in trouble. So we're pretty much good in here. It's hard to do that when you go out and live stream somewhere. Visual Lotus says, came here for the plumbing videos, stayed for the business advice and charisma. Love your videos, Roger, and your edits are wonderful. That's Clear. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Look, I think that I've got two of the best behind the scenes people there are. And it's Will that comes up with my content creation, my thumbnails. Will comes in and helps tell me, hey, here's videos we need to make. Here's videos we need to think about making. Here's ideas we have. And he is a genius at the research and the details and the thumbnails. And to me, that's huge. Thumbnails and titles are the biggest thing that help get you found, and Will's really, really good at it. If you try to hire him, I will shoot you. I'm joking. Grayson, on the other hand, my editor, fantastic. Grayson is a cinematography trained editor, knows what he's doing, sees things in a completely different way than most people do, and says, hey, look, I've got an idea. Can I do this? And it's like, yeah, try it. Let's see what happens. So thank you very much. I appreciate people noticing things like that, because I notice what these guys do every day, and I know a lot of people don't even see it. They think it's all me, and to be honest, it's not. I'm just the chicken here that, Will turns up the heat and makes me dance, and I do what I'm supposed to do. So it works out really good. Gonzo Fishing, plumbing service, or new construction? And that one's clear.
5 minutes, by the way.
5 minutes. Man, Will keeps me on board. I love it. So here's the deal. Go take my free mini course. Go take it because it asks you questions to let you answer that yourself. Meaning, do you do new construction or service? Well, do you like to fix things or build things? Do you do commercial or residential? Do you want to be on one job for a long, long time, or maybe a different job every day, or maybe 3 or 4 different ones every day? So there's a lot of different options and opportunity there that, to be honest, those are questions you need to ask yourself and you come up with, because there may be things there that I can tell you, well, I would do this or this or this, but it may not be your style. It may not be what's best for you. Visual Lotus says, howdy, Roger. Quick business question. How do you establish impactful company culture in your industry, and how does it affect turnover? That's clear. Here's the thing is, and I say that, there it is. Here's the thing. Culture's got to be instilled in people. I can't just tell them what culture I want. I've got to show them. I've got to help them. I've got to portray that and work towards it. So it really is a big deal that it's in the people you hire. Do you hire people that are going to help promote the culture you believe in? Are you going to hire people that help do the things your company is the foundation for it? And if not, it's never going to get there. So that's a big deal. Pepsi and Doritos, good to see you. Good day from Australia. Should I get rid of small dead legs in my plumbing system? It's all recently installed PEX, but has some dead legs from renovations. And man, you're going to hate hearing this, but I'm going to tell you, yeah. And the reason being, and remember, I used to work on high purity water systems. That's clear, Will. Used to work on high purity water systems out at Texas Instruments. Those dead legs can hold mold, mildew, bacteria, and things like that. If you get stagnant water in there that does not move, you can create problems. So, and it may not be a big problem right now, but it may be something you want to think about in the future. But I would not want any dead legs on my water system just for that purpose. Jason Swagger, how do you feel about the M12 line of tools? That's clear. I tell you what, I like it. I like the M18 better. I like the M18 with the one key. Had to look down at that. I thought, man, it's been a little bit. I like the one key, so where you can track it and trace it and know where stuff is. Look, I love Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee, Rigid, DeWalt, these guys are trying to make amazing tools. And I know a lot of plumbers that'll say, look, I hate yellow, or I hate red, or I hate this. It's like, man, look, they're all trying to make our lives better. I love every one of them. And if they help me do my job better, it's amazing. I love the M18, the fuel. It's a lot more power. It's just, there's a lot of good things. I have nothing against the M12. I've used it for a while. And it's all changing so fast, and I love it. Alex Carter says.
The last one, by the way.
Okay. It is. It's about that time, 5:28. Alex Carter says, I'm a 6-year plumber. What advice do you have for a new construction plumber moving into service? Alex, man, that's a great question. I'm going to go ahead and clear that out. Actually, I'll leave it up there. Alex, thank you. Here's the deal, is if you're going from construction to service, that's good because you understand what's behind the walls, especially if you've got 6 years of experience. Now, service is different because now you've got to learn to communicate with customers. You've got to learn to analyze problems instead of just installing pipe. As a new construction, as a construction worker, you're building, you're installing. And that's why I ask people in my free mini course, do you like to build things or do you like to fix things? Because you're going from building things to fixing things. But the good thing is you know what's behind the walls, so you've got an advantage over a lot of people. I love the fact that my history, look, I've done new construction, I've done service, I've done residential and commercial, so I see both sides of it. But also I've been union and non-union, so I see a lot of things that maybe a lot of people never have. Alex, what I will tell you is learn customer service, learn communication, learn to work on those skills, learn to get in and talk to people. And I know Julie's still in here. Learn to listen to people. And man, if I could give you any advice at all, that would be number one. Learn to listen to people. Because when you go in and talk to customers and they start telling you what's wrong, you're automatically thinking of what the problem is and how to fix it and how to do this and how to do that. At the end of the day, one of the best things we can do as service plumbers is listen to our customers, because they're telling us what problems they have. They are telling us what has happened, what's happened along the way, and learn to ask them questions to help peel back the layers of that onion just a little bit more to find out some more information. And man, that would be the most important thing that I can tell you. Number one, how did y'all like coming in early and staying late today? Will's over here shaking his head. No, he hated it. He says, man, I came in at 3 and stayed till 5:30. This is crazy. But we've had a lot of people ask us about coming in earlier, and we know that a lot of people do like staying till 5:30. So I've enjoyed it. I've had fun. I hope that y'all had fun. Look, if y'all caught this on the replay, or if you're here live, Will's got a link up top in the chat. You know, we started a new YouTube channel. It's called The Trade Talks. We started a new podcast. We had somebody ask about it earlier. It's called The Trade Talks. And we've got a magazine. And I know I'm the guy on the front, but Will's got a great article inside about social media. And it's also called The Trade Talks, and he put a link to it up there. You know, click on that. You can go to that. If you haven't gone over yet and checked out our YouTube channel, there is no videos yet. We literally just started shooting them this last week. But I think it would be funny if we had 1,000 subscribers before we ever had a video up. And don't get me wrong, I don't see that happening, but man, that would be so funny. But man, I want to take just a moment to tell y'all thank you. The Urban Explorer, Editor Grayson, Will, Amber, Julie, Paul Peck Drywall Tube, everybody. Man, these are all good people. Paul Peck and Urban Explorer have great YouTube channels. Jump over and check out what they're doing. And man, I really hope that y'all learned something today. I hope you got some value out of coming by here and visiting. And man, I hope that you come back again. If you hadn't checked out my YouTube videos yet, man, jump over and check out the channel, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you see when we go live, what we do and how we do it. And hopefully you'll come back and visit more. If you've got questions or comments and you didn't jump in today, come back next week. Jump in. Feel free to ask your questions, leave your comments, say what you want to say, and call it good. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope you had a great day. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for the comments. And thank you for everybody coming by, coming in early, staying in and hanging around. So we're going to get out of here. I've got some stuff to shut down, then I'll come back and shut this down. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. And I really do hope you come back. I will see you next time. I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the expert plumber. I'll see you in the next video if you don't get flushed.